Imagine, satu kaset you jual RM13.5. You know how much the band get? 50 sen. From RM13.50, you got 50 cent. Can you imagine? And then some band lost even their name. Like Expedition lost their name. Kena pakai re-Expedition. I mean, these are the contracts. And they purposely don't tell us kids about the complexities of the contract.
Sup, Adly. Welcome to a very special episode of Korek Fizikal. Sebab the guest today is the reason, one of the main reason kenapa aku buat apa aku buat benda sekarang ni, Joe Kid. Thanks Joe for wanting to do this. So, mana yang tak tahu, I mean, Joe, I grew up with not just Joe punya music dengan Carburetor Dang, but also the stuff that dia buat daripada blasting concept, 80s, Fanzine, and then all the things yang dia touch dekat the local underground scene. Joe main banyak band, from Zinc. Yeah, I saw your dick in a flyer, betul?
Yeah. No.
Bukan
No, that's not
chorus, okay. So Zing and then Carburetor Dang, and then he did some projects, solo projects juga, and then dia ada project dengan Fendi, also from Carburetor Dang, which is Shit Workers.
Workers,
right?
yeah.
Workers. And then solo project Cowboy dengan siapa nama? Din.
Dengan design. Famous Cowboys.
Famous Cowboys. And I think most importantly untuk aku is dia punya writing lah, dekat first edits and then blasting concept. That was the thing masa I was growing up. Aku cerita sikit aja buat mana yang tak tu.
Kebolehan.
When I was growing up, blasting concept dengan edits tu dia kira macam the kiblat to me personally, meaning like okay, dia punya style of writing and then the attitude in it, and then how he put local bands on pedestal masa tu. And yeah, so today is a very special episode to me sebab aku dapat dive Korek into Joe punya mind. Okay, enough about me rambling. Okay Joe, what's new? Apa yang terbaru?
Oh, what's new? Aku sekarang on the way to pindah from KL, go somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
So
pindah for good?
For good.
Okay.
Yeah. KL sucks, man.
Okay.
So that's the main thing lah yang actually been taking up a lot of my time. So aku go forth and balik and all this. Otherwise, Carburetor Dang is actually back in the sense that dah macam aktif balik lah in that sense.
Okay.
Only the problem bila budak-budak ajak main live, main gigs, kami tak ada time sangat lah, because kena plan macam alat semua sibuk, album sibuk kan. So kena plan ahead baru boleh maybe consider nak main. Tapi recording wise we are doing it now lah. So kami release the new EP, which is actually those songs are from about almost 10 years ago.
Okay.
Kami record masa kami ada studio sendiri.
Okay.
Kerbau Works. Tapi the plan at that time was to release the EP.
Okay.
And then our friend from Beijing, Nevin, he came over. Kami bawa pergi studio, dia dengar dua lagu, dia cakap, Jojo, I want this. So it was released dekat Wuhan.
Okay.
With a band SMZB on the 7-inch. Tapi aku tak suka sangat dia punya, because it's not really mastered proper.
Okay.
So that we got the 7-inch lah, tapi aku tak promote sangat because I don't really like the sound of it.
Okay.
So recently we decided to kind of compile the songs yang kami record, and then there is this dub version done by Salim, which is in Dublin. So we decided to master everything again and then release it as a EP lah, which is the original punya idea 10 years ago.
Alright.
Okay. So that's one. And then recently before aku pergi to my new place, you guys probably know yang Songs for Friends, our first album 93. Last year it was the 30th anniversary. But we cannot really do anything much with it because the master was sold by VSP, our record label at that time, to EMI. And we didn't even know, kami tak tahu pun. Until about late 2000 kami dapat tahu yang it's been sold away. So then we cannot reissue it without getting the permission of, because they own the recording rights, but the song is our right.
Okay.
So they cannot reissue juga because we have to ask us to allow for the permission of the songs. So then we decided, fuck it, just re-record lah, you know. And then it'd be fun juga because it's been like 30 years. So how do we approach the old song? You know, how are we gonna change? And because it's so long ago, and kita dah, personally everybody in the band dah different kan compared to those days.
Yeah.
And also the fact that aku sebenarnya tak pernah suka the recording of the album. Even though I like the songs, some of them, but I never liked the recording because at that time we didn't know nothing, tak tahu apa kan. Kami, there's one point aku we recorded it at King Studio. I think Studio D or B or something, I can't remember. Aku dah set up guitar and everything dengan miking and everything. Tiba-tiba the sound engineer say, Joe, just direct to the board, DI terus kan. Okay, boleh? Cakap boleh. So the guitar sound that come out from that ada plasticky sikit. So aku tak suka. And of course everybody dalam band time tu memang tak pernah record, tak pernah apa. So we didn't know what the fuck we were doing lah at that time. So but the album came out and seems like people like it, and because of the fact that I don't really like the actual recording, so we thought maybe we revisit the song, change some stuff, even lyrically some parts we're going to change. Dalam Songs for Friends ada 14 lagu. To record proper like 14 song, we need a lot of time. And everybody semua dah, our life tak macam dulu, melebat dekat break fee, and nowadays everybody ada things to do kan, and then responsibility and all that. So the plan came out that okay, we do 4 songs, and even nowadays people don't really release albums anyway.
True.
And I also think that kalau you compartmentalize it to just 4 songs, meaning that you can really concentrate on the 4 songs, and then after the 4 songs we do another 4 songs. So the plan is to have, because of 14 songs, so we need 16 songs. So we are adding 2 more songs, which yang aku tulis during that time masa kami record the first album.
During that period.
Yeah, but we never recorded the songs. So I thought the last EP, which is gonna be like 4 EPs. So the last EP gonna have 2 lagu yang tak pernah record.
So for the first EP tu apa lagu dia?
Liar, Properly. What else have any? Carburetor Dance. No, that one is for the second. Sorry, aku tak ingat. Tapi dah 4 lagu dah siap. So that gonna come out on cassettes, and maybe some people ask for CDs also, because banyak orang tak beli kaset. Ada aku dengar ada yang beli kaset tak dengar pun. Just keep it.
Simpan.
So maybe ada CD, but the plan at the end of the day, we dah siap semua 4 tu. So it comes out gradually. 1, 2, 3 keluar. By the 4th one, we're gonna come planning to have a box. So you can slot all the stuff. Like kalau kaset, slot in that box. Or kalau CD, slot in that box. And that box will come with a booklet about the whole thing lah, about the early days and all these things lah.
Okay. So kalau ikut dia punya timeline tu, dia akan complete 4 dalam masa berapa tahun tu, roughly? Kalau ikut timeline lah.
Hopefully this year lah.
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Oh, nak settle semua this year
Kami tak ada macam
no pressure.
No pressure. This is Kawin Tedang lah. We are like simple. So kami tak ada niat nak berhenti ke apa ke. So we are, and then I'm very lucky because for me the band members are all my closest friends. So I don't think we ever break up like in that sense, you know. So there's no timeline. But I would love it kalau we can finish it by the year lah. Because we also had this plan to do an acoustic EP. And then we have a few new songs. So the thing that's stopping us basically aku sibuk the pindah thing lah.
Faham.
So that take my time.
And then when you mentioned that, looking back, right, Songs for Friend tu, what are your thoughts about the album tu? Looking back kan, 30 tahun masa korang record tu, looking back, do you foresee yang macam dia akan jadi what's the word? Cultural and socially impactful as it is.
You think is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean like to me when kalau tengok kampung-kampung kan, kalau studio jamming time tu.
Yeah, that one aku realize. Aku pernah
Ah.
pergi aku pergi Ipoh ke Melaka, and then I was walking beside some building, tiba-tiba ada jamming studio, and then boo boo is going on. Yeah. And then we got a lot of letters from the one that aku suka lah, because a lot of kids yang hantar surat saying that the lyrics affected them in some ways, and you know, kind of like make them think whatever, which is for me is like the success lah. I mean, that's it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So masa when you guys were working on the album tu, apa dia punya objective at that point of time?
It was Fandi's band, and then kami dapat Central Market, and then I always go to check out Fendi jamming. I mean, I'm his friend. Most of the time they were main cover lah. I mean, so this is like Azrin now with Subculture. Joe Mechanic was drum. But anyway, aku before that in 1989 aku dah form Kapal Tedang. The plan that time was to do like Voivod, Die Cruisen kind of thing lah. It's really weird, hardcore punk metal thing. Tapi masalahnya, the guitarist that we thought can really play, he can really play, but he cannot play with other people.
Oh, okay.
Masa kami jam, tiba-tiba kami nampak dia bilang 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, at that time kami dah just jam macam Sabah and all that lah kan. And then after like 3 kali jam, I called the band Kapal Tedang already lah. We decided, okay, this is not gonna work. And the bassist, which was the original Rator bassist, OG, he left, dia pergi ke Penang. And from there, I kind of broke apart lah. And then I started with some of the projects lah, you know, as Flowers Decay, I think, if I remember.
Yeah,
Flowers Decay was me and Patul. And you know, Central Market gang lah, we just go and jam tu. Then letak nama lah kan. And then so for me, bila Kapal Tedang form, that was the opportunity for me in a sense to start writing lah. In a sense, I was writing for The Flower, tapi memang material different lah. The Flower is more real, kind of personalnya thing. But then I have this other vehicle that I can talk about the more, let's say, not so much political, but personal politics and also society,
social
issues. Yeah, things that can affect us and our friendship, and also touching upon the fact that we had a community back then, and very good community. I mean, Brickfield and all that lah. So a lot of that deals with how we hang out, you know, going to chowke and all those things lah. And then, like Stand Safe is about when we start seeing a lot of violence at the shows. So then we decided to address that. Tapi nowadays aku really hate that song lah. Because the lyrics so clever, so naive and all that lah. While recording the album, do you know that? Okay, I'll tell you a story lah. When we were called to BSP because of what's his name? Harry from Slum Scum.
Okay.
We hang out together kan. And then Harry was called to see BSP because they wanted to sign them up. And then after Harry dah meeting tu, that night aku tak tahu pun. Kami duduk lepak CM, Central Market. And then he come up to me, Joe, those guys were asking about carburetor. I mean, why don't you guys go? I bilang, So then we went. And they offered us this contract lah. But at that time, me and Fendi, I mean, we had this kind of like democratic lah. So, are we going to sign to this company or not? You know? Because masa tu aku dah baru belah daripada Sonic Asylum, which is the label that I formed under FGM. So I can see already at that time the fucked upness of music industry. Even though they're calling themselves independent, they are not working in a way that supposedly our ideal independent way, which means that better royalty and all these things. We had a kind of like a vote lah, and then 3 of us said yes. So then we go sign.
Okay.
And during the meeting, they asked how many songs you guys have, and we said we have 14 songs, but we only have 1 song at that time. Kayak ada satu lagu You Are a Problem yang kami record for Circle of Friends, tapi it was never released under Circle of Friends. So I still have that recording anyway. So then when they say okay, when you guys are going to record and everything, they started to book the studio. And then, which means that aku every day kat rumah is writing song. Every single day writing song, riff after riff after riff. And then panggil, everybody living in Bridgefield. So aku duduk seorang that time. So they would come lah and then listen to the song, like especially Fendi. Fendi is like the main guy who would say yes, no, yes, no. So yang yes tu aku put together and then call up the other guys and then have them listen. If they like it lah, you know. But even while recording, aku masih writing songs.
Oh, okay.
They were like riff that we record without lyrics yet. So aku duduk belakang write lyric and buat melody, you know, 14 songs man to yes, 14 songs. Kalau nak buat LP, you have to have double LP.
Yes.
So practically it's a double LP punya album lah.
Yes.
Yeah, that way. But we managed to do it. I think when you are under such pressure, then you work, you know. I mean, I found out aku macam tu lah. You have to put me under really intense pressure dan aku, because naturally aku very malas man. I mean, I'm a laid back guy. I don't, you know. But yeah, it happened. And of course, lyrically, I have to come up with the thing that really important for us at that time, lah. You know? And that's include the more personal thing like Jump Down Lemonade is very personal stuff like that lah.
So at what point macam kau you notice apa yang kau buat tu impact dia besar gila babi to the kids especially?
I don't really know, because if you go back to my history, my friend's history in Terengganu, you know, the punk scene that we started like late 70s, early 80s. So about 82, 83, kami dah affected a lot of people. I mean, tiba-tiba di Terengganu, every sekolah, sekolah menengah, there will be at least 2 punk rockers. Every sekolah. From Kemaman, from Cukai, up to like Besut. So, you know, you imagine. And then, certain weekend we hang out dekat bus stand Kuala Terengganu. So, meaning that what we did that time is already like affecting a lot of kids. So, but at that time we don't really realize it. We just do because we love it. I mean, we don't think, we don't sit down and analyze, what we're doing. You know, no.
Okay.
We just do. You know, it's different times. You know, I guess maybe nowadays when you get older, you start thinking about that. In '91, I was interviewed by Chris Ho, Mendiang Chris Ho, in Singapore, and he asked me, why is it that there was punk in Terengganu, you know, of all places, and I cannot answer because we never really think about, because we just got into it and just do our thing. You know, kita tak pernah lah sit down academically thinking, you know, I mean, no. Only afterward, years and decades later, people start thinking, okay, then we start thinking, trying to find out the underlying factors and all that.
And then again, lagi satu I notice dekat your post scanner rice cooker archive.
Okay, I think 2007 I started the rice cooker shop.
Okay.
So the rice cooker shop was at Central Market, the Annex, when the Annex was opened up as a kind of like hub lah. Because the one who did the renovation and the planning was the architect, a friend of mine. So she asked me to join in, and I said, what should I do? And I said, my girlfriend Ilan said, you know, why not? You know, you always think about having like because I was running rice cooker blog at the time, and which is all about the underground scene. I thought, okay, let's have a record store or an outlet for regional independent releases. Because tak ada at that time mana ada. So we have a central place where DIY bands and independent releases, we just get together. I even get a Xerox machine, photocopy machine, so that kids can do fanzine. They come print there and everything. So basically, it's all about that. So Rice Cooker Shop was about catering to the need where you need an outlet for independent and DIY releases or anything to do, like even buat t-shirt or whatever, away from the mainstream. Again, I'm always in that way lah, you know. So from there, after a few years, I don't know whether you know, there is a funding called Nippon Foundation.
Nippon Foundation
from Japan. They have been funding researchers for years. A lot of even Dane Said was one of them.
Okay.
A lot of the artists, got this funding where for 1 year you can do research and they fund you.
Okay.
Because actually they sent me the form to get the funding like 5 years before that, like 2001 they already sent me, but I never look at it. But by about I think it was about 2010 or 2012. They're saying that this is going to be the last because they're running out of money. So and I thought, my friend said, hey Joe, you better do this, because my plan was I want to research the history of punk in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And so I brought the fanzine, the collection, and everything, and show all because they have like I think about 12 professors at UKM who kind of like selecting committee. Like.
Okay.
And I thought, do my presentation as and then show them. They were surprised. They didn't know that this thing, the underground subculture thing, is happening here for a long time.
Oh, okay.
So then I got it. So I went traveling for 1 year. Jakarta, Manila, and Tokyo. And Tokyo the reason was to see the difference between a more developed country comparatively to Philippines and Indonesia, or now of course Singapore and Malaysia. How the development of punk happened. And also because I really want to go to Japan. So 1 year. So during my research too, I met a lot of the old punks. Most of them I know already because I was doing fanzine since 86, 87. Okay? So I've been in contact with some of them. So I went to see them first lah. And the problem that always arises is the fact that they lost this, they lost that. That cassette, that fanzine, they lost it in fire, flooding. And so, along the way, I could start thinking, there should be an archive for a cultural area which has been subjected to oppression in some ways, and also been neglected, and to the point of deletion. I think the government want to delete it and then forget it. Right? I want to bring it up. So that's how I started the Rice Cooker Archive.
Okay.
And I turned Rice Cooker shop, closed the shop, and booked up Rice Cooker Archive. And from there, I started collecting.
Okay.
I've been collecting for years anyway.
Yeah.
Since I was 15. I would listen to SBC, Singapore radio, on shortwave and record like interviews with the Swallows, Impian Batik and all that, and record John Peel on BBC. So I've been collecting for a long time. So I thought that this is a time to, when you come to a certain age, you start, okay, this is what you should do,
Yeah, faham.
So the Rice Cooker Archive is that.
So bila orang boleh dapat access?
That's the thing, because at this point, aku moving, and then, it's like, Rice Cooker is behind here. Dalam tu adalah some collection of cassettes and fanzines, but aku lupa buat kunci. But anyway, I think it's going to be properly at the new place lah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not going to say where
Yeah. Okay. Alright, okay, nanti kita akan sembang lagi dengan Joe. Lepas ni kita akan tanya dia punya first. Banyak lagi cerita aku nak korek ni.
Aku nak minum air.
Okay. Okay, Joe. The first cassette kau beli, kau ingat tak?
It was not cassette.
Oh.
You must remember aku dah.
Oh, yeah.
My time, cassette actually comes when aku hit my teenage years lah, I guess. Prior to that, it was all vinyl. So it was a vinyl lah. It was a 7-inch.
7-inch,
Carl Douglas, Kung Fu Fighting. Everybody was Kung Fu. Yes. And then it's a bootleg, di mana the A side and it's a double A side lah. So Kung Fu Fighting, and the other side is the Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Okay.
Also about Kung Fu, I can't remember. So it's like a Kung Fu thing lah. It's like a sukan punya 7-inch lah.
Okay.
So that was the first. I think I was maybe, I would say 12.
Dia memang ada kedai jual 7-inch, memang ada?
Yes.
Oh, eh?
Yes, every town would have a record store.
Record store.
Most biggest, even Dungun. I come from Dungun, Dungun Terengganu. When I found punk, I immediately decided to go to the nearest record store. There was a record store, and then I was like, they had the Iggy Pop, The Idiot dengan Stooges.
So meaning kat Dungun pun, I mean, pekan-pekan kecil pun dia jual 7-inch by this punk bands.
From my experience, everywhere, even in masa there was one time we went on a bus trip sekolah aku kan. We go to Singapore. On the way, we stopped in Mersing. Mersing got like all these record stores.
Serious, eh?
Yeah, just before you enter like Causeway into Singapore, kami makan lah sekejap kat Mersing. So yeah, aku jumpa The Clash punya first album and Specials first album. This is 1979, yeah.
So meaning access to music masa tu dia lagi wider compared to now.
Okay, let's go back to the fact that kita as a country only started to sign up to the International Treaty of Copyright somewhere in the mid-80s. I think precisely around 86 or 87. So before that, piracy is rampant lah. Because first of all, there's no law. It's a cowboy part lah, cowboy town like that for that. And if you go back to the 60s, which is why a lot of the 60s band was in a way exploited, in the sense that they sign up to maybe a bigger independent label, and suddenly ada version of their 7-inch. Even now, among collectors of 7 inches, you ask them, they will say, "Oh, this is copy, this is bootleg," because they have version of it. And so back then, even compilation was done. I mean, on LP. I'm not talking about cassette. Compilation done by pirates here, and then we did have a lot of. I think probably about 3 presses for vinyl.
Pressing plant. Kat sini, kat Malaysia.
Kat sini, kat Malaysia.
Faham. The first time you fall in love with punk, apa was it music or was it benda lain?
It's just a gambar.
Gambar?
Just one gambar.
Gambar apa tu?
Johnny Rotten.
Oh ya?
Yeah.
So apa yang tarik engkau macam what pull you to that,
Prior to that lah. I mean to go back a few years before that, my uncle, the youngest in my mom's family, dia bawa a few LPs lah, because he lives in Besut. Came to Dungun to visit us, and he brought one of the thing I remember, Janis Joplin, Big Brother holding company, that album, with Piece of My Heart and all that. And that was, it's a double LP with the Gatefold. No, it's a Gatefold, not double LP, but a Gatefold with the art by Robert Crumb. At that time aku tak tahu lah Robert Crumb, tapi nowadays aku gila Robert Crumb. So Robert Crumb did this artwork, and then back then bila you pasang, you will look at this big art thing, then you go through every pore of the space of the surface, like and Robert Crumb punya painting, and dia punya cartoon kind of counterculture hero of the 60s kan. So that one was really in a way influential in the sense of introducing me to rock lah. And then my brother, who's 4 years older than me, he was one of the smartest kids in Dungun lah. So he got sent to sekolah Tunku Abdul Rahman, Star, Ipoh. So when he was there, he fell in with some guys who were really music nerds lah. So his friends are really into music. He was already listening to Patti Smith. He was listening already Roxy music. Like the earlier kind of like, not to say proto-punk, but influences to a lot of the punk bands prior to that, David Bowie and all that lah. So he knows that. And when bila dia balik cuti, he always bring something for me, like. But at that time, aku tak lah serious sangat kan. I mean, at that time I was really into comics. I was balik sekolah je. My mom had a small restaurant. So aku balik sekolah je, aku grab some money from the till, terus naik bisikal pergi kedai komik dan aku beli. My favorite was Ghost Rider and Daredevil and all that lah. And of course Beano and all that. And then later on 2000 AD and all that, Crisis. So my main thing was that. But then one night, because we are very close. Aku 3 beradik. So my sister is the youngest. Aku kat tengah, and my brother. So he came back for cuti. I can't remember. Aku rasa late 78, something like that. So we always tunggu depan rumah because our house and also restaurant. Because our house at the back of the restaurant and the main road going to Dungun. So the bus stop there. So it's, dia sampai pada Ipoh, probably about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But me and my sister would kind of trying to stay awake lah to greet him. So yeah, he came down, said yeah, hug him, bring his stuff, And then I was helping his backpack or something. And then when we entered the house, the book, he's kind of like his scrapbook.
Scrapbook, okay.
Scrapbook come diary or something. Fell on the floor. Aku angkat. And the first page yang buka is Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rotten,
He was wearing his beret. And then there's this like navy kind of like jacket that was scrawled with God Save the Queen and then God Save the Pink. And I was like, apa ni? Because you have to remember this is 1978. And prior to that, I was listening to my brother's friends because my brother was away. So my friends mainly his friend lah.
Okay.
Who were like kutu lah lepak dekat bus stand. And they were like really great. I mean they were listening to a lot of blues and of course Deep Purple, Rainbow, all those lah, including Yes and Mahavishnu Orchestra, a lot of progressive rock thing. But then it was never really my thing, But of course I got into the fashion also lah. I mean slower jeans and dengan jacket jeans. But when I saw that, it's immediately like, I don't know, it hit me in a way that this is alien, this is different, and this is fresh. And it is my generation. I mean, you imagine at that time everybody long hair, denim, sometimes still ada lagi leftovers of bell bottoms, and the cowboy boots and all this, I mean. So culturally, in terms of the youth, when you look at this, it's totally like something else.
Yep.
And it blew my mind. I was 14 at that time.
Yeah.
So then I asked my brother lah, so who's this? He said, that's Johnny Rotten. And I said, okay, apa ni? Siapa dia ni? So he told me the story lah. And I remember precisely, he said, they have just split up. I said, because that's 1978. Sex Pistols split up in early 70s in the US when they're playing at the Winterland. After that he left kan. So I remember that he said that, And inside that book also there are several other pictures. One was really early Billy Idol.
Okay.
With his multicolored home spray, because Billy Idol generation they like to do their own t-shirt with spray paint. So he got this jumper and blonde spiky hair. And then there's another band, Stinky Toys. I don't know whether you guys.
Stinky Toys.
Stinky Toys is one of the first French punk band of like 76, 77, something like that. So that's the three lah yang aku ingat lah. But from there, my life just totally
change,
Totally. Yeah. Sampai sekarang lah.
So macam the appeal masa tu, apart from at what point dia yalah macam first introduction is through gambar kan. So the cultural thing dalam punk, the ideal of punk tu at what point dia
No, because once you got interested, then you started to search lah. I'm like that, like aku have this perangai where if I like something, then I would try to learn what come before it, what influenced it or whatever lah, So of course my brother would tell me all these things lah, and then he told me about the New York scene, television, all those things, like Ramones and all that. I remember he said that it's not just another youth culture thing, subculture thing. These guys, they read lah, Joe. They are thinking guys lah. They read. They got books. It's not like mak rock yang I'm not trying to put down the mak rock thing, but there's a lot more substance to it. That's what I mean.
Okay.
And of course through that, I started to look for it lah. So meaning that because all the while I was really interested in movies. comics and also books.
Okay.
In terms of English, I was really interested in English. Mak aku cakap masa aku budak-budak tu, bila aku mengigau ke English.
Oh ya ke?
Which is kelakar. But anyway, aku selalu bawa throughout my years masa aku since sekolah rendah lagi, aku bawa kamus dalam.
Oh ya.
Those days, I tahu budak-budak sekarang ada tak lagi dia. There's this green thick kamus. Aku tak lupa apa tajuk. Di besar ni.
Pocket lah.
Besar ni. So anytime I get into like articles that I want. No, then aku start apa ni? So I carry it around with me all the time. When I found punk rock, then it become like wow. So this more prior to that it was movies and all that like James Bond, better than James Bond. Or I mean like if you look back in time because those guys started 75, 76 and blew over 77, 78. And by 78, 79, that's where all the great music comes through because what we call as post-punk. Not post-punk as a genre, but as a selepas punk. Where the ideas of punk was being used to create other things, from movies to writing to whatever. And that, for me, was like, poof, and then you discover that the Clash likes reggae, and then and then you discover Kraftwerk because of like Gary Newman and OMD and all that. So and then the books and that the fact that Robert Smith is talking about Camus, and then television they start talking about all the poets from France and everything. And if you go back to the history of Sex Pistols, then you got the connection with the situation is international, the Dadais and everything. I mean, you were like this kid and you're absorbing everything, man. So after a while, it's like this is it, man. This like it's so like again, it's full of substance that really got to me. Okay. And then that's why even now, I've been driven by that understanding of how it works in that sense.
Okay. Punk is about doing things. So the first thing inspired kau untuk buat based on punk tu apa? Was it writing? Was it music? Kau ingat tak?
Aku in a sense very obsessive, like almost like obsessive lah, like anything to do with punk. I remember there's one time we were in a car, me and my brother, and then I always look at the charts. Okay. Because of course dalam newspaper, aku always buy the Star. Okay. Back then, even to the point of people kutuk aku lah sebab nak ada masalah kono and all that. But because I like what was been written there. Also the Star, I remember had a collection of poetry every Thursday. Okay. Which I always cut and put in my bedroom wall. So anyway, I remember this one time, I was looking at the chart, top 10 in the UK. I said, hey, my brother's name Yi. Yi, this Dire Straits ni punk Because Dire Straits kan, the meaning is like Dire Straits ni mesti punk lah Yi. So my brother said, Tondo, aku tak dengar ni. So the next few weeks, because across the road from our house is a cassette store. Okay. Where I became their, later on I became their selector. Oh, okay. So when bila lorry daripada KL datang to send the tape, the guy would call me out, Joe, which one aku nak jual ni? So aku just select. Aku dapat 2-3 keping free. So immediately we got the States listening. Oh, not really. There's not punk, but they have that certain special thing. I love the first 2 albums by Dire Straits. Amazing stuff. Our mind just start to open to anything new, and I mean, aku don't really listen to old music much during those years. Okay. Until later, that I start finding, okay, let's listen to that Zeppelin. Okay. But because the idea at that time that you reject the past in that sense, and that music pre-punk was more. It doesn't say. Like Morrissey said, nothing much about your life, because they were like talking about dragons, So punk brought everything down to earth, and there is more, how to say, authenticity in terms of what they're talking about, So we started to write to people overseas, like even about 81. Okay. Yeah, I started, me and my friends because what happened was my friends at my school became punks because I brought them every Wednesday we'll be listening to John Peel.
Okay.
I have a scar here that actually from listening to John Peel.
Kenapa?
Kena rotan. Darah tu macam ni.
Oh, yeah?
But anyway, we were like pretty far ahead. But whenever there's something that we really love, like EB40 first single, was it Food for Thought? Food for Thought came out. John P played. Apa ni? Reggae tak reggae, jazz tak jazz. Stop ni. Kumpul duit. Hantar ke UK. Order the cassette.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mail order lah, time tu mail order lah kan?
Order. So I mean, those are the things that we did.
Okay.
You see? So once we start to write to people overseas, and from there we got fanzines, and from the fanzine you got address some more. And by about 1982 we realised that punk was just not happening just bukan sahaja di UK ataupun di US. Suddenly we heard about bands in Italy, bands in Norway, Finland, Sweden, Japan, and Peru. So then we got all these addresses, so we sent to them. And then after that we got, I think about 83 we got Maximum Rock and Roll.
Yep.
One of the first few issues kan. Lama from there. Dulu bila you get that, tanda dulu memang tak ada apa tu, highlighter tak ada. You pakai pencil lah. Tanda. And then in 1979, a year after I found punk, I came down to KL. Okay, there's a long story to tell how we di Terengganu managed to get a lot of this stuff. One of the things that we did was we come down to KL because KL got record stores. The main two ones were at Ampang Park, the Love Music, and there's another one upstairs. And over there they got all the new wave. Because we also listen to new wave, of course, because it's post-punk for us, kan. Where we dub, kita dub on cassette and we pay a certain amount of money, satu cassette berapa and like that. So usually we come up 3 days, sampai aja tu pergi kedai, select all the record, okay kami nak dub yang ni, so we hang out for 1 day, tunggu, because they need like 2 days, so by third day kita mencaw.
Okay.
Yeah. From there, we got all these connections lah, and then the point that I started to really do something was when I do the fanzines lah. And that is because kita hantar surat overseas, like to some guy in, let's say, in France, something like this, or maybe in Italy. So those guys would send stuff, and then they would ask for the stuff from here. And of course, we don't have anything. We want to form bands, tapi, I mean, at that time, it's very hard unless you come from a very money kind of family, or even when nowadays bila aku cakap dengan bands from the 70s or 60s, a lot of the time they have some sort of a benefactor, somebody who sponsor them, like either a family or some businessman who got like a garage or that. So we never had that because jamming studio only arrived in Terengganu somewhere about 86, 87. So prior to that, you have to buy your electric guitar. So but anyway, one time, one guy, I was complaining to my friends overseas that there's nothing happening here. And one guy said, "Fuck you, Joe." Yeah, just like really a big slap on my face. Like, you have to do something about this, man. I mean, the scene is what you do, And I thought, oh man. So then I sit down and start doing the fanzine.
Why Adly, nama dia?
Aku tak ada nama. I mean, at that time tak ada nama. But I kind of reserve the front page, the
cover tu lah.
The cover page, empty. But because at that time I'm still like looking. But at the same time aku start doing the articles like handwritten tak salah aku. And then the Jabatan Kesihatan datang ke rumah aku, and then start check belakang rumah for ugat-ugat for the nyamuk. Aku tak hirau lah, dan bila aku dekat table kat luar tu, aku duduk buat fanzine aku lah. And then, lepas dia datang, dia kata, okay, but mak aku tak ada. Aku kata, okay, sekarang ni kami boleh saman ni. Ada. Ada Edis punya ugat-ugat lah, ada dia punya. And then dia kata, tapi tak apa, this is the first time, so kami bagi warning. Ni ambil flyer, dia ada, at that time, like flyer lah, kat leaflet yang lipat dua tu lah. Which is my fanzine size already lah. Aku tengok. And then tu lihat atas tu ada Edis. Bahaya Edis lah, apa pun ada gambar. So aku potong, aku tampal kat atas. Lepas tu aku tukarlah, aku tambah aku punya artwork sikit-sikit. That's the title of the
So
fanzine.
the name ADs tu daripada flyer.
Daripada Jabatan Kesihatan.
Lepas ADs, at what point baru kau start making music, forming a band?
Dulu masa sekolah rendah tu di Dungun, there was one band.
Oh.
Tak silap nama dia Purple Haze. Tapi bukan Purple Haze yang apa ni, yang Gani semua tu. Nowadays lah. So, and I didn't know at that time, but they are like Manangah punya friends and all those guys. But I don't know those guys because they're much older than me. So, petang-petang aku pergi tengok orang jam.
Oh, okay.
So aku dah macam thinking I want to play guitar macam tu kan. Tapi tak. Ni before punk tau. So, and then there's one time also aku pergi ke rumah Fatah. Tahu tak Fatah?
Fatah yang mana?
Manangah. Fatahnya.
Okay.
Basically cartoonist.
Oh, okay.
And then Pendi apa nama? Jalil.
Oh, Jalil Ngah. Okay.
Those guys are actually, their family, I didn't know at that time, was really something else. The father, from what I remember, he was one of the socialist leaders.
Oh.
Yeah. My father was socialist in that sense lah. I mean, kepala seladang. Buat flyer kepala seladang all that. So the influence of the Soekarno basically. I mean, back then, in the 60s to the 70s, the influence of Soekarno punya oratory punya skill was really big. So socialism was pretty. But anyway, aku nak belajar gitar. Tapi masa tu Fatah tak sakit je. Masa tu Fatah keluar dengan rotan. I mean, dah aku realize semua yang belajar ni dia ada bawa rotan. Aku tu pula. So from then on aku tak main gitar lah. Tapi aku learn lah sikit-sikit lah. Macam one yang aku remember was one of the Santana song. Oye Como Va.
Oye Como Va. Okay.
That was my first
riff lah.
My first, because you nak tukar dari A minor ke D tu. Bukan senang pun. Pecah ni. So that was my first riff yang aku belajar. Tapi aku never really learn. And the wish to form a band have been going on for a long time lah. Tapi I never had the chance. Sampai aku datang KL lah.
Oh, okay.
Datang KL 88. Okay. And that was because aku dengar ada scene happening in KL.
Oh, okay.
And that's because of, if you know Luc Haas. Luc Haas is a French guy who's into punk rock, but he's more into the punk rock in places where it's very hard to be punks. People in England, they have like welfare, whatever, EB40, whatever, And the US, mostly they are like middle class kids. They have money, you know what I mean. But there are areas around the world where punk happen, where the condition is not as friendly or as supportive or as kaya. So he's interested in that. So he got in touch with us. I think first he contacted Nazri Chick.
Hardcore.
Yeah, Chick. So he came with the plan to go to Terengganu. So one day he called me up. Dulu kan telefon yang ni lah.
Rotary phone.
Call aku, dia cakap, Joe, dia cakap, I went past this shopping complex. He said it was Pertama complex. I would say 87. 87, I think 87.
Okay.
And he said, there's Punisher, Nemesis, and then there's one more band. I don't think it's Reto, I can't remember. Then when I heard that, because I know when you call your band Punisher and you call it Nemesis, you know those are from comics. Yeah. Okay, Punisher is from the comic. Yeah. Nemesis is from 2000 AD comic. And I read that, and then people who are into that must be something that not mat rock lah, I mean something else. So I thought, fuck man. So then, Shahlan, he's my junior at school. So he said, Joe, aku nak pergi KL, nak pergi dub cassette lah. I said, okay, can you go to Central Market and look for these guys? And he went, and when he came back, he got the address of Rosdan. Okay. Rosdan Punisher. And I was like, oh. So then I interviewed Rosdan, and then from there I know already. There's a real musical underground thing happening in KL, and I need to be there because in Terengganu nothing happened. You cannot do anything to Terengganu. This goes to sampai sekarang lah. How the society expectation and the way they control the youth and everything. You cannot be who you are. what you do sebagai orang muda yang you have a lot of energy and everything. So what you do, you naik motor, you go, like macam mak rempit sekarang. Dulu tak panggil mak rempit lah. And then we go malam-malam about 3 hours ride on the bike just to go to kedai pelayan tepi jalan, just because the pelayan ni lawa or something like this, where all the trailer berhenti. Because there's nothing to do. To the point that aku dengan abangku, we started our own kind of like club lah. It's called Copacabana. At our house, where we have VHS player, and then guitar, and then cassette and all that lah. So budak-budak kampung semua datang situ. There was this need for young people to kind of like do their own thing. The elders would not understand, because this is their life. They want to find it. First important thing is to find themselves.
Yeah.
So for me, aku dah nampak my life in Terengganu. I mean, I would not go to where I want to be. Even though at that time I don't really know where I want to be, but I need to find this. You know what I mean? And Kuala Lumpur, with the scene happening, like really, like man, because I've been writing about it. I've been, doing the fanzine. I've been in touch with people, and also at that time, about 85, the housemate for Kromok at Wollongong, Mat, my close friend, sekolah menengah. He sent me Slayer, and Metallica, and another band which for announced to us punks in Terengganu lah. The fuck, man, this is like, because you imagine aku duduk dengar Slayer dekat rumah sewa aku. All the punks yang datang lepak rumah aku datang. Apa benda je mau dengar lagu metal dengar benda. Kita tak dengar metal je. Kita dengar balik. Dengar. Lain ni. Okay. What I'm saying is, by in the middle of the 80s, we found trash. I mean, at that time, the proper name was speed metal. We don't really call it trash yet. And you see Metallica wearing Misfit t-shirt, and then they're wearing, the fashion is mainly macam Ramones. That's just normal. Because we hated like all those
big hair rock,
Twisted Sister, even Scorpion pun.
Yeah.
I mean, they have all this, even if you go back on all this kind of glammy kind of thing happening kan. So this is like, wow, man. The scene in Terengganu, we started from punks just hanging out and everything. There's a lot of stories about it, really funny stories like that. But anyway, it moved into starting to have bands, especially with Malaria. With Kui, who was studying in Kuantan. Dia ambil gitar kat sekolah dia bawa balik. And then from there, dia buka studio after that lah. I mean, he formed Malaria and all that. I mean, from there on. At the same time, I know what's happening in KL. But because in Terengganu, like I say, if you are someone who rebellious in some ways, we see a lot of bullshit around you. Of course, you don't want to be trapped in that. And at that time, I was under the scholarship of Shell. I was supposed to be working as a junior engineer at the platform. Like Parker. They started to have this kind of petroleum industry started. By that time, a lot of my friends that start kerja dulu and everything. So I was supposed to be one of them, because I was studying under the Bersama ISO. And I said no. I want to go to KL. But at the same time, I was smart enough to think that I need to get a job. And since that I was reading The Star, there was an other iklan, and the iklan said, "Are you bold? Are you adventurous? Are you willing to work odd hours? Come and join us." So this is my chance, you know. At that time, The Star was, I think, prior to 87, where they had the black, where Mahathir arrested about 100 something people under SA and all that. Before that, The Star was quite formidable in terms of the political ideas and even in terms of the cultural writing. So, and also at that time, the girl that I was going out with, she started to study in ITM. So there's 3 reasons lah. not 3 reasons, 2 reasons, but then the star is somehow, I need to try this, you know.
Yeah.
So when I came down here, I went straight for the star, and they asked me, where's your qualification? Aku tak bawa anything, aku tak bawa apa tu, CJ lah apa, aku tak bawa. I know I don't have anything, I have this. Aku punya fanzine. Aku tunjuk Adly. I think it was 2 issue or 3 issue, I can't remember. And they were like, you look at their face, and like, apa ni? You know? Because I can't remember what's the name of that guy. He's a fat fellow who write about comic. I can't remember his name now. He's an amazing guy. He called out all the guys, hey, come guys, look at this guy, apa benda dia buat ni? So then, you come tomorrow, you work.
Oh, macam tu
Yes.
Oh.
So yeah, those days it's like that, you know. So I was thrown immediately into this world of journalism, you know. And just because aku buat fanzine. And then of course then I wrote about the scene. I think it was the first article about what's happening with Nemesis, Punisher, Slapdash. I think. Yeah. There's a picture of them yang aku bawa photographer with the star, so ambil depan Central Market. So they were sitting down, dan masa tu Central Market masih lagi di, I think they're doing the parking space kat front tu kan, kat depan tu, masih tak siap kan. So ada jentolak so ambil gambar kat jentolak. So that's my cari makan, and then every night aku hang out Central Market, and then the weekend I go to Charlotte to see my girlfriend.
Okay.
So that's where, you know, then yeah. So that's where it start. It start before, but it stepped into another.
The KL journey started at that point.
KL journey started.
Okay, kita take a break kejap. Lepas ni kita sambung lagi cerita daripada KL dan selanjutnya. So, bila kau sampai KL, how was it like masa tu?
No, at that time, yang aku ingat, there's not many. You guys kena remember time tu, tak ramai pun. That Central Market pun, time tu dalam, I would say 20 orang kot.
20 orang
Something like the band member, okay, Nemesis, Punisher, you know, and then there's other bands start to come in lah. Before that, there's only 2 of them, you know. So I would say paling banyak pun 30 orang lah aku rasa. Tapi tak aku. But very small scene.
And masa tu dia punya music was what? The biggest.
No, it was thrash metal lah.
Thrash metal lah.
Like Punisher was more on the Bay Area, kind of Metallica, Testament and all this thing. Nemesis was more kind of the heavier side, Slayer, the Teutonic thrash, Sodom and all this thing. And a lot of the other bands also more into the Teutonic kind of thing also. That's the music that was being played. And the bands were playing covers.
Oh, okay.
The band were playing covers. But they were really excellent bands. It's like you're watching the band that you like lah, you know what I mean? For myself though, it was not really, I love that also, but my main thing is still punk and hardcore, whatever, that sort of, even indie, because I grew up with, after, you know, like I said, after 78, 79, everything, I could follow everything from the fact that when the Smith appeared, or Jesus Mary Chain appeared, the first time R.E.M. come out with the Chronic Town, you know, we like, fucking, because it's so revolutionary at that time. And then of course the UK 82 punya branch out lah, like from Exploited to GBH to the more hardcore, British hardcore kind of sound and all that. But in KL that time was only like thrash metal lah. Only by around the end of the 90s, end of 80s. I'm talking about 87, 88, 89. Death metal kind of influence start to come in with the other people, like Bacteria, which later turned into Silent Death, and all these other guys like Tormentor and all that. A lot. And then the best thing at that time was about 89, 90 onwards. Bands started to write their own songs. I read somewhere that Fato said about Opposition Party, and that show, I organized the show.
Okay.
I organized the show, and I needed to have a punk band playing, because you know, I'm from the punk side of things. Yeah. So I got in touch with Francis and asked him to come, pick him up, and they're staying at the Merdeka, something dekat Chowkit. So that night, Of course, a lot of the thrash metal or metal heads. First time they heard Anarchy in UK was by Megadeth, was it? Yeah.
Megadeth kot?
Yeah, Megadeth.
The cover tu lah.
Yeah, the cover. So of course they asked this punk band to play a punk song, you know. And what Francis did was like, sorry, we don't do covers. And I was like on stage at that time looking, yeah, because that's what it is. We don't, you know, that's for me. There's no point in trying to be somebody else. You have to be yourself. But I could never really kind of like force them to do it. I mean, I tried with Punisher when I was managing them for a while, and actually, Bullet was the drummer for Punisher at the time, and Mak Karim, the bassist. They wrote. If I tak silap, they wrote about 3 or 4 songs already, in the veins of Voivod.
Oh, okay.
Just like, you know, I heard that Rosdan and the other guys don't like it. They want that Bay Area kind of sound.
Oh,
And then after that, they split up.
habis macam tu je lah.
And also, I met up the younger people, like OG, One Ermi, of course Fato. Fato I meet him earlier on when I was living in PJ. The guys I was living with were from the north. So Fato came around, hang out. So I know him for, you know, at that time he had a band called Teenage Mutant.
Okay.
Back kampung lah. A crossover DRI kind of band. There's these guys who much younger, who were listening to more kind of indie pop, indie rock. They were really into The Cure, really into all this, you know. So that's in Central Market. You got the death metal side, the thrash metal, whatever, and then of course after a while you got the black metal side, who's dekat Ramzan. they don't campur. And then us, you know, who listen to punk and, you know, industrial and post-punk, whatever, you know what I mean? So a lot of these post-punk kicks lah. And that was those guys who I thought like, I should record these guys, you know what I mean? Because I want to, in a way, I want to document what happened at that time. By about 1991, they started to form bands. So this is where a circle of friends come in. So, and for me, it's really amazing, you know.
Yeah.
You know the band Sludge, right?
Yeah, Sludge.
Yeah, well, the first grunge band. This, you have to remember, this is 92. Nirvana got big 92 kan?
Late 90, kat Malaysia 92 lah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like, because we were listening to Sub Pop earlier on, you know, because we were trading tapes. A lot of our friends who sent in, because in the US you got the college radio. Every college will have their own radio show, and then the radio got dubbed into cassette and sent over here. So we, you know, it's like a worldwide kind of tape trading. Tape trading was one thing that people forgot. We tape trade. Tape trading was how Metallica became big. It was the social media of the times, at that time. Apart from Fanzine and all that. So by the late 80s, you got all these kids who in a way kind of more in tune with what I like, you know. Coming from the more punk, post-punk kind of thing.
Macam mana pula Sonic Asylum come into the picture?
Okay, before that, let's go back a bit. About 1990, there was a record label that has been putting out cassette release of American blues and everything called Noise Records.
Noise.
So Noise Records put out American blue, a bit of jazz, a bit of more kind of like esoteric kind of thing. And George, I think it was George Lutz and some of his friends, they called me up. I was managing Punisher at that time, and they wanted to sign up all the metal bands at Central Market. So it was like Silent Death, Nemesis, Punisher, Slap Death. So we thought, okay, this is it. This is happening, man. So I was so happy. But the company was clamped down by the bank. I don't know what happened. So then all this kind of like semangat we had at that time was totally, because my plan was to, because I was supposed to be the guy who runs the label there, help them out, get all the bands, I really wanted to have a record label for a long time. and of course I want to do it independently, but you know, I don't have money. Budak miskin. So, and then suddenly I heard that Chromok put out a demo, and then that demo is going to be released by Chromok, by BSP, and I was like, you know, because you know this means that it's happening. The realization of that recorded work in terms of the underground started to happen. And I was really desperate, you know, because I was working very hard. Because you know, in 1989 there was no shows, and I start thinking, man, this means that you know when there's no shows, there's no gigs, then the scene gonna go. And I got really scared, and I thought, okay, I why don't I do my own shows? So I went to see Fun Fest.
Okay.
I met up with Tokyo Fun Fest, and I said, Uncle, can I bring a band here? How much do you pay? So he said, we pay this person. Can I? Okay, what date? You know. Then we have shows. So this is where I got like Voices, Pichagari to play. I brought in Pilgrim to play. Slept there a lot. I mean, there was some way punya fanfare, and then of course the Pichagari, Pilgrim with Mutilation at Bangsa Utama. Those are one of the the shows that I did to have the scene active, because a lot of venues don't want thrash metal and all this underground music anymore. You know, Auntie, I met with what's his name? He asked me to do shows at Metallica Lounge. So that's the point, and then that was the show started at 10 at night. Habis pukul 3, pukul 4, man. I mean, what the fuck? It was amazing. And you came out after moshing and everything, ada patah tangan lah, and then we were sitting down waiting for the bus. The first bus gonna be about 5:30. So then we just hang out. No, it was great time, you know. Okay, Sonic Asylum happened because Moda came to KL and recorded their demo dekat Helayan Studio with Abang Man, arwah Abang Man, great guy. It's a 4-track. So then they start shopping around thinking, where could we release it? Because at that time, you must also understand that there was no digital studios, meaning that proper studio cost a hell lot of money, from about 120 up to 300, up to 500 per hour. And then on top of that, you have to buy the quarter-inch and all this, or rent quarter-inch and all this. So you need to have a lot of money to get properly recorded. Stuff like what Abang Man at Helayan was doing, is like 4-track and all this thing. I mean, there's several other places after that who kind of like give the bands the idea, the chance to record their stuff in a more quality much better than just dubbing pakai
live recording
Walkman lah. You know? I think somebody suggested to them to see FGM because of the connection. I believe, I'm not sure, you have to ask me about this. Me, the bassist for FTG, because the house band were playing. I mean, there's these guys who were playing for Zaiton's Hammer On, whatever, for recording in that studio. They were playing. Those are FTG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those are the guys. So there is some sort of a connection happening then. So when Moda went to see FGM, I believe, if this is correct lah, they told me that, I talked to them about, what is the possibility of me meeting those guys, because I'm getting desperate. So I went to see FGM. I tabled them my idea to do a sub-label under them by the name of Sonic Asylum, and they say yes. I told them the fact that there's so many bands that need to be recorded, blah blah blah. I started Sonic Asylum lah. They said yes. I remember creating the logo, Sonic Asylum on the bus.
Oh yeah.
Going back to Brixie, I was putting Sonic Asylum. I was so happy. Then I started with Moda first, and then I think it was Pilgrim, first album, and then Fashion Maggot, and then the fourth project was Circle of Friends. We recorded. Circle of Friends recording was really fun also, because every night, you must remember, Central Market closes at about 10 at that time, 10 p.m. So either we go to Lorong Katak, which is on the other side,
Yep.
makan and all that, or we go to Sentul, to FGM Studios to record. And everybody went. So like, if you think the backing vocals, I mean, anyone who's there, like whatever band they are, and then the one that handled the recording was G Black, who's now Arwah. We had so much fun. Because, and I call it Circle of Friends because truly it was friend. It was a circle of friends. Because this is the beauty of that time, because it's the sense of community, the fact that, because we were not kaya or, well-fed or whatever. We share like nasi lemak, satu bungkus nasi lemak 3 orang, you know what I mean? So there is this sense of belonging, the sense of like taking care of each other. Anyone who come to KL can stay at our place in Brickfield. 121C is where everybody stays. Kalau ada show apa-apa, tak ada tempat, datang rumah kami. So it's that sort of community that I don't know whether you still have it nowadays. But back then it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Pilgrims. You ada tangan banyak dekat the first album, I assume, right?
Pilgrim was for me. There were a few punk bands at that time, but Pilgrim was for me the one that have, in a way, a lot more. First of all, they are bersemangat lah. I mean, they really want to do something. Others just jamming, nothing really. I can see that they can go somewhere. I mean, I have this idea at that time that I would look at some personalities in the scene that this guy can go somewhere, like Fato, like Ian John from all those guys, even Radi. Earlier on when Radi was hanging out, he was 15 years old, man. He came hang out dekat rumah, tiba-tiba ambil gitar, dah dapat lagu lah. I mean, like this guy is something else. So those are the people that we need to. And for us, at least for me lah, I try to identify this latent talent that need to be kind of like portion, like we tried with Sherry. I know Sherry.
Sherry the singer.
Sherry is amazing. You know that he recorded the first album and he never want to release it.
Never want to release it.
Yeah, it was recorded by Bullet, and we were like, "Come on, release it." He doesn't release it. I mean, what I'm saying that because you have to capture the time, because your life, you go through stages.
Yep.
If you don't do this at this time, then when you do it the next time, you'll be different already.
True.
And most of the time, when you're older, you are not as good as when you were younger.
True.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to like capture the time. Wow. So the Pilgrim for me was Lee and Abang. Lee the singer, Abang the drummer. They were at this college, removed them because they're going to the US or something like this. And so happened. There's my junior at school, Ayek, who befriended them at that I think it's college, who introduced them to punk rock proper, because they were like more speed metal, the rocks, And then Ayek brought them to see me because I lived in Section 14 PJ at that time, working at the Star. So that's the first time I met them, become friends, and then we become really close friends. And I think in some way maybe I've destroyed the ambition to go to overseas because of punk rock. So anyway, coming back to the fact that I need to have punk bands, right? So when Metallica first, I think it was the first show, I need to get Opposition Party. I wanted to get Pilgrim, but they were not, at the time they can't do it. So I got Francis to come and do that. And after that, the Pilgrim and all that lah. So finally, we got kind of like this punk element in all this metal thing happening. And by about I think it was 93, we had the first show where there were no metal bands.
Revenge of the Rats.
Revenge of the Rats, yes. Which is what I always wanted to see, So we got all the bands that. But I'm not saying that we don't want to be playing with metal bands. It's just that there need to be this kind of a tension, We need to have a lot of stuff happening. I like it when it's not the same. I hate it when you go to a show, you see a band, playing, and then you see another band playing that the same like the band before, and then there's another 8 bands that's going to sound the same. What's the point?
Yeah.
So I want. That's why when I did the Circle of Friends, it's about that, to introduce this new thing, because at that time there's no indie. Like my band, The Flower and Spiral, and mana ada band macam tu at that time? There's none, you know. And there's Sludge, and then you got like
Soul Wound.
yeah, Soul Wound, amazing. Ada satu riff, only one riff repeated, but the song and the singing, that guy, apa nama dia? He's so, you know what happened to him? His family came and kidnapped him, bawa balik.
Oh yeah.
And hantar him to study somewhere. But he's so good lah. But of course the parents doesn't want him to, you know, like spend his time with all these misfits and all that.
Okay. So lepas Sonic Asylum, something happened and you started AGE, right?
AGE was started at the same time, I think, with Sonic.
Oh, same time.
Yeah, AGE started with me and VJ, which is because at Central Market, you know, it's always open to everyone, but very rarely we have like Indians or Chinese. But there are, and VJ is one of them, and there's also Rono, and then so you got Akyong and all that. So we formed the AG, Alternative Garage Entertainment, to do shows in a way, in a proper way, better way, more organized. So we did the first show at Yachuan. Yeah, with I think it was a TJ, Naked Butterfly. I can't remember now. So AGE was started as that. But then, I don't want to say the whole story, but basically VJ went out, so I became just myself. So when I decided to leave FGM, the idea was to take out Sonic Asylum from FGM. I don't want to say bad things about it, but there is some business decision that they make that is not fair to the bands. And instead of me trying to, you imagine you're working with a company that is exploiting your friend's band. So how do you work?
True.
So I decided to leave. So I left. And of course, lucky at that time I got girlfriends who just pay my rent. Then I started AGE and then recorded Pilgrim's second album in '94.
Which is kalau kau tanya aku, album tu one of the best kot. I think away from the numbers tu, it's like macam next level.
You know what happened with the album? Because we are very, very close friends, right? They were in Kuantan, so I sent them money for them to write songs and go jamming. I think I sent them about $500 or something, I can't remember. And I called them up after a few months, I think. I said, "You guys ready to record?" I said, "Yeah, we're ready." And then I booked the studio and everything, and they came. I'm telling you this because why there were so many songs I wrote for them. You know, because when they came, they only have riff. It's not completed songs, but I already booked a studio, which is Bullet Studio, and I was like, okay, you know. So I sat down and wrote. I said, okay, Yi, come back. Riff apa dia? Okay, pergi. Then, tambah, and then you know, lyric, melody. So even while recording the song, like I said again, macam recording
songs for friends.
Song for friends lah. I was in the kitchen while they were recording, so that by the time they finish with the track, I have the melodies and lyrics. There was one time, I think it was '94 when Kurt Cobain, somebody, because we were like camped out in that studio. I think 2 guys went to Central Market to hang out. And when they came back, hey guys, you know what? Kurt Cobain died. He killed himself. And we're like, fuck. So then we sit down, and sat down, and then I come up with a song that with the reverse riff, inspired by, I think it was Radiohead or something, early Radiohead or something. We sat around and talk about the legacy of Cobain and the fact, because for me, my so-called hero is Johnny Rotten, which is like generations before.
Yeah.
But I understand how Cobain affected a lot of kids, you know. And then there's one time, Wang, because he always hang out, so he came, hang out, and we were still desperate for a song, and he showed me his notebook or something like this, and then there's a poem, and I look at it, kita buat lagu lah. So that's the Duke puke on my lap.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately that night we record, you know. So that was how we were working, because we were desperate for material, but at the same time, I was trying to make it the best we can, you know. And then a lot of people check up, oh, it's not the same like the first album. They lost that punk kind of thing. But for me, punk is not that. It's more than that. It's not just kind of trying to fit into a certain uniformity or whatever. You know what I mean? You have to explore. Then, you know, then it's fun. Right? I mean, it's something new and all that. So that's why Away from the Numbers. I love Away from the Numbers. Even though I read. I mean, I wrote the song with Lee and all those guys, but that album is really something else. And that title is taken from the Jam. Yeah.
The Jam ni lagu.
Yeah. And also, the meaning was like away from the numbers. The numbers means that the normal. So when you're away from the normal, meaning that the album is different from the rest of what was happening at that time. True. So that's our statement in some ways, you know what I mean?
So tak nak reissue ke the album? Because
I will, but you know, I don't know whether you know, me and Lee had a bit of a, I don't know, this going out in public, but you know, me and Lee are not, we have a, how to say this, we're not close anymore. Which is very sad for me and even the band, because we love him. So until that's settled, I don't want to do anything without his consent. Or that even, you know, even though we own the recording, whatever, you don't do that to friends. You see? So.
Okay, faham.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to blasting concept. Macam mana that came about? I mean, from someone outside, right, to have a full page in like national newspaper that
because the thing is like this. It's a long story. I don't know whether you guys have time.
Diorang ada time? Ada kan? Okay kan? Okay.
Do you know that The Sun was actually a tabloid, a weekly, that comes out with stories about UFOs and all this. Yes. It's all this strange.
Oh, the UK punya paper lah. Kan, The Sun?
I don't. No. This is not The Sun yet. The name was not The Sun yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was called Neutral or something. I can't remember.
Okay.
It was based in PJ.
Okay.
So, I believe Vincent Tan, he bought over that company or the licensing. Because every paper needs a license and the permit. And then he changed it to The Sun.
Okay.
And at that time, he looked at new graduates from Australia who came back from Australia. So that means, you know, Prem
tak sure.
Sakini.
Okay.
Stephen Gunn. So those guys, Prem Gunn. So anyway, so these guys, they just got back from Australia with a lot of idealism, all these things. So they are the ones who started to become the first,
the pioneer of the Sun.
The pioneer of the Sun desk. When they were starting the Sun, they need a writer for music and all that. So happened, I was recording the Pilgrim second album in PJ, and he was looking for him for weeks. Tak jumpa. Because we stayed there. Main tidur makan dekat studio, you know. He came over and said, "Joe, we got this new project coming in. You have to come in." I said, okay. So I went to see them, and they said, "Would you like to do this and that?" And blah blah blah. And I said, "You know what? I don't really want to be full time. I hate. Aku memang tak boleh bangun pagi, and then aku dah did that with the Star. So when I thought, I said, "Can you give me a column? I just want to write about the underground music scene because I think it needs to be heard. It needs to be brought out without kowtowing to the mainstream. I understand now. We do this our own way, you know. And I don't want advertisement on my page. They don't give me that time. They gave me just a piece This is 94. So I got the job lah. So every week, I put out a story, what's happening, siapa release album, ada gig kat mana, you know, this. It went on for 4 years, from 94 to 98. Blasting Concept, it's called Blasting Concept, and it's taken from SST,
Yeah, the compilation.
the compilation by SST Records, where Black Flag and all that lah. So that's the how it happens lah.
Do you know the impact of Blasting Concept to the scene masa tu?
When
Looking back now,
yeah, but also because whenever I met people after the run ended in '98, a lot of kids come up to me and say, "Joe, I mean, we need, because we don't know what to buy now.
Yeah.
You know, like at least those days you told us which is good, which is not good, you know, whatever. Now we don't know." Because at that time tak ada internet lagi. I mean, we started to get minimal connection internet-wise in 97, 98, and then slowly barulah kan. So in a way, yeah. And I remember also, bila let's say Kabel Tedang is playing somewhere, and then I haven't read the paper that, you know, the column for the week, I would go to find it. And I remember one point at Medan Kid in Singapore, sampai there, I went to the store, ada tak The Sun? Dia cakap, tak ada lah, ada budak-budak beli. Dia cakap, tu atas table dia orang tinggal. Tu pasal apa tinggal? Buka, Blasting Concept dah tak ada. Yes. So in a way I understand how, how a lot of kids really love that thing. I do remember also that some people who I didn't know that read my writing. This is like artists, people that not a part of the scene, you know, they're writers, whatever. They say, "Joe, we read your articles, man," you know, something like that. Oh, okay, I thought it's just for the kids and all that lah. So yeah, in a way, if you ask me, I can sense that it was important lah.
Because I mean, ada fanzine apa semua, but I think Blasting Concept, they put that stamp of approval. You know, sebab kalau you tengok, I mean, not to talk down to the fanzine punya editors, but macam Blasting Concept ada this level of journalism tau. Dia ada beza, you know, when you do fanzine.
No, but that's also a curse. Because, really? Around the end, around the last few years, there are bands who kind of like get together, college guys get together, pergi jamming, and they record it on their cassette player or mini disc, whatever it is at that time, mini disc, and then send it over to me on CDR or something, like, you know, like, oh, this is our demo. So, and then bila kita dengar, we know lah, I mean, this is just from yesterday, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it becomes like that, which is kind of like, it's not supposed to be that way lah, kan? So, and there are people doing fanzine, right? Taruh gambar dia orang, you know, like 4 pages selling for RM20, and send it to me, "Joe, do review dia." I mean, just gambar you guys, you know. So it becomes that sort of, I would say, almost like in a way, status symbol. We appear in Blasting Concept. I mean, if it's a proper way, they got, you know, then it's fine. But then it becomes this thing, you know, it becomes very cheap, you know, in some ways. So when the Sun wanted to, minimize the workers and everything, they offered me to do, not inside full flat pitch anymore, do something else. I said, no, like that. So tak did, habis lah. Because at the same time, it's just like, God, you know what I mean? And also, at that time, I was pretty much, affected in a way by the DIY scene. Because I was always into that, but in a way, I was working in a more kind of mainstream friendly kind of way. Because, you know, I got TV show, 96, and all these things. Like, 97 and 96, 97, Bollocks came out with Revolution. And I was like, man, this is something else, you know, because they were selling at RM3. And there is this concerted effort by the guys at Central Market, especially Careless Collective and all those guys. Concerted effort to make it really DIY as fuck kind of thing, which I like, whoa, you know. At the same time, I'm seeing all this bullshit happening with the more mainstream friendly kind of thing. like bands who signed your previous interviewee. Bands and the Positito were asking me to take a look at their contracts and things like that, and I said, fuck man, because before they sign up, I told them, I told Radi before he signed up, OAG signed up, to get the contract, sit down with the parents, whatever, get a lawyer, so that in the future you wouldn't, feel like you've been
Cheated.
fucked over, and the same with intoxicated and all this, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it become, I don't know, the scene has become, I mean, in the more mainstream way, it's not running the way that I thought it would be. I remember there were two bigger labels who called me up to finance AGE, and they said, "Okay, Joe, why don't you bring your AGE label to under our, we finance you." And then when I asked them about changing the structure of royalty payment to make it better, to make it more fair, they said, "Oh, that one we KIV, we talk about our." I said, "Fuck off!" I left. Two companies, because you have to remember at that time when you sign up, the music industry in Malaysia, the biggest crooks, like really. If you see all those our older friends who are like playing music now, kena jual burger and all that, you know what I mean? They supposed to be able to live off their art, you know what I mean? You can't, because of the way the contracts were run and all this. I mean, that some people thought, blame it on piracy and all that. Oh, fuck that, piracy will always happen. The contract that those kids were pushed to sign killed them, because imagine satu kaset you jual RM13.5. You know how much the band get? 50 sen. From RM13.50, you got 50 cents. Can you imagine? And then some band lost even their name. Like SPDC lost their name of it. Kena pakai re-SPDC. I mean, these are the contracts. And they purposely don't tell us kids about the complexities of the contract. Like Butterfingers. They signed for supposedly 3 albums. Tiba-tiba ada small writing, or you have to do another 2. I mean, this sort of stuff. And so by that point, aku just start thinking as if like I'm being this barua for all these industry people who kind of like
the crooks,
who just exploit. It comes at the right time lah. So at that time I start being serious with my partner now and everything. Our life changed and everything. It's like, oh, okay, And also the place where we live had become kind of a drug den. So 98 was the point where I think the first scene died. 97, I remember, I tell you this. 97, I went to see a show. Fatu asked me to go to see Spiral and OAG playing at the, what is now in front of Pavilion.
MCTs dulu.
Yeah, dulu MCTs, right? I was there at the back with my girlfriend, with Ilan, and I remember that, both Fatu and Radi had to ask people, please come to the front, please come to the front. And then I look at that and I said, shit, this is the end, man. I mean, because back then mana ada macam tu.
I mean, orang berebut nak ke depan.
And even the band don't care if you're not there. Fuck it, you know what I mean? Things has changed, and there is new generation that's coming up. First of all, you got the more like militant DIY thing, which I like, because that coming from my area of thinking, and you got all this bullshit with the bands who have been exploited by the mainstream, and how they were in a way being, all the edges that they have, they've been dah trim, dah jadi nice, tiba-tiba pakai baju Melayu, keluar URTV, what the fuck, I mean, things like that. No, I'm just saying that, okay, when you are part of the industry, of course you have to play the industry game, but the industry has to be fair. That was my main complaint, basically. So I left. I mean, I didn't do anything for 1 year. Like 98, I was not doing anything. I went back to reading, back to fanzine, going back into the kind of like the roots of what it's all about. And then from there, I started AG again to do Jemapoh soundtrack. and then Kabel Tudang second album and go on lah. Yeah.
Throughout your journey, right, Joe? Kalau you were to list down 10 band yang macam in your personal list lah, top 10 local bands yang macam maybe mana yang tengok kan, you should try to find their stuff and check them out. Kalau ada 10 lah. 10 ke 5? Ikut kau lah.
Aku all time favorite band aku is a short period of time for one band, which is Infection Maggot. Infection Maggot for me was the epitome of Malay kids who just listen to everything, kind of like makan with different influences, and then vomit this brilliant thing, you know, which is that first album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What is it called? Blood Runs Red.
Yeah. Blood Runs Red. Apa? Grief. Something.
Yeah, in this, I can't remember now. That me and Fatou came up with that. That was for me is the pinnacle of that generation in the sense of how brilliant it was.
Okay, Maggots.
And then of course ACAB, when I first met them, even the first demo was really pretty good already. Okay. So I those days I would, because they borrowed my ska tapes, whatever. Just you know, I was trying to encourage them to go further because they were like really amazing together. And there's a few guys that never really achieved what they should have in some sense, you know. Of course, Radi is like crazy lah. I mean, he's a one-off kind of thing lah. You know, you know, macam cakap tadi lah, Pak Omar tiba-tiba. And he got the correct upbringing in that sense lah. You know what I mean? And you got Ian John. I don't know if you know Ian John.
Ian John, apa nama?
United Colours of Frustration.
Yes. Yeah.
He's really something else. But then, I mean, we formed a band. I mean, the second version of The Flower, we recorded 2 songs. He was on the vocals. He's really one of those guys who you can sense that he got something to offer that's amazing, you know. And of course, there's Sherry. For me, I always love Sherry. Later on, you got Rahmat Arun. Rahmat Arun, 2000 something. He's amazing. At that period, I'm talking about period, okay? Because people change.
Okay,
Yeah. So that what else?
Spiral.
You know the history of Spiral?
No,
Spiral was a branch out of The Flower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Fatou, he was a part of The Flower. And then sekejap dia nak main drum, sekejap aku nak nyanyi, sekejap aku nak main gitar. Lalu aku cakap, Fatou, why don't you just go and form your own band, you know? And that's how Spiral came out.
Okay.
I mean, of course, Fatou, Spiral and Maggot lah. I mean, that song Iris, like amazing stuff. You know? But of course, later on, you know, Crime Scene for me, one left the band already. Crime Scene is amazing. I mean, I always love them. There's a lot more, there's newer bands and stuff like that.
Nice Stupid Playground?
That album is really good. I love that. We were supposed to play together recently, but tak jadi.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, there's DPSA.
Oh yeah, DPSA.
They were something else. And Jijo's band, Stone Cross. Oh my God. That's, you know, but they never properly managed to properly record. And these are like missed chances lah, you know. There's so many bands actually. Like even Butterfingers, when I first saw them, they were total copies of Nirvana. Like to the point that Emmett was wearing the same jumper. You know? So I kutuk dia orang lah, you know what I mean. And there's one time a friend from England came and I said, hey, let's go Piccadilly to see a show. And the guy said, hey, I heard about Butterfingers. I said, I don't lah, dia orang ni cover memang copycat. And then you know what happened that show? They played their own stuff. They played their own way. I was like, oh my God, this is it, you know? I went to see them behind the stage, talk to them. I was like, wow, happy. Because there's always talented people who kind of stuck in trying to appease their maybe peer pressure, or maybe to be a part of a trend, which kind of like made them forget that they have talent to go further than that, to be their own, you know. And this is one of the sins of the music industry also, because when there is a trend, they would sign up talented people to do that trend that's happening. So let's say the trend is rock. So they sign up all this band to do this sort of stuff that is selling, And they even say that you can't write the song. I mean, maybe one or two, just to appease them. And they get other people to write the song. So you don't asah, you don't give them the leeway for them to become themselves, to realize their talent. There's so many of them who died that way, you know what I mean? You know? And and then all these companies, they got the contract, okay, this have to be Amnasir to write the song, this have to be this. You know? And then who got the royalty in the end of the day? Those guys are now selling burgers, man. You know, can you see? I mean, you don't even talk about how much they're getting and all that. If you look at history in terms of rock, the labels like Harvest or Vertigo in the US. I mean, we're talking about the 70s, right? They saw a talented person, they take them in and they record who they are. You know, and they created trend, not that you follow trend. Because Sonic Asylum was inside FGM company. My table was there. There's one woman who can sing like Johnny Mitchell. I was like, wow, this is wait lah, gila babi, mandashat. And you know what? The whole office asking her to train singing macam Zaitun Simeon.
Ayo.
And then I look at it and I say, oh, I mean, what a waste, you know, kan? And this happen all the time. There are lucky people like Suleiman who manage to go their own way. Like, you know what I mean? Like people under RAP, which is like really being hired because of the talent, and then the talent was being asah to make like really amazing stuff. Kan? People look at how successful they were, and they even realize that that's how they do it. And then you have generation after generation of artists musically who just died off like that. You know?
The vicious cycle lah.
Yeah. Okay. Imagine Blues Gang. You look at Blues Gang. Blues Gang is a blues band. When they sign up to a company, they have to do all this like commercial stuff. You know what they want to really do? They want to play blues, man. I mean, if they do that, they could be playing. For me, I would see them playing festival in Montreal, Montreux, whatever. You know what I mean? But because they were playing, you know, I sense this. How to say? Macam sadness. You know what I mean?
Frustration.
Yes.
Faham.
So that's the problem with our music. I mean, it goes back it goes back to the 60s. You know, I mean, our music industry is the worst. You know, it's the worst.
But we look on the brighter side a bit. How the alternative on TV, Joe. I mean, to have a show. Ya, aku ingat lagi Chronic Mass was on it. Dia ada siapa?
Alternative was who was it? There's this guy. I think his name's George. Michael, yes.
Oh, Michael Simon.
Michael Simon.
Oh.
So I don't know how, but I think Michael looked for me or something like this because of my column. And I told him that because always I want to do it my way. So they don't have no say in the selection of the bands that we want to play. And also, you are on the Malaysian TV. So at first I didn't know. I just went to all the labels. Hey, you guys had the video, you know, Bad Religion. So I just grab, and then I select which one to play. And then they say, oh Joe, cannot. Rancid ni ada tattoo. Rancid tak boleh, tattoo. Patut ada so all this like ada earring. So kena tak boleh ke edit kasih buang sikit je. Because you have to work within that fucking stupid system you know. But we managed to do it. We do it. Important for me at that time also because just to show that there is another different areas to what you see normally around you. There are under the radar thing that you should check out. You know, that's always my thing. You know, because underneath there, for me, it's a lot more real in a sense that it doesn't have this marketing bullshit. You know what I mean? So that was what I was trying to do. But then by the second season, they asked me, Joe, can you follow what they want to do? You know, can you play Alanis Morissette? You know, I said, and I thought, why? You know what I mean? Those names, they are big already. You know, we get more. I mean, we're trying to play Nick Cave, you know, Nick Cave and the Bad Scene. We play all this, like, you know, Ocean Color Scene, man. You know, and then I said no. I just left. I thought they get another guy to do it because it lost the purpose already. Because you know, I mean, once you become the industry's voice, then you become part of that marketing. You know, and marketing is marketing lah. You know what I mean? A lot of the time it's just like manufactured kind of attraction. You know what I mean? So something that I'm not into lah. So I cannot be myself that way. Memang you can make a lot of money or whatever, you know, but I don't know. I just cannot.
Tak feel lah, tak.
Yeah. You know,
You feel like cheating to yourself, right?
Yeah. These are the things that arwah Mio. He said, Joe, you're too idealistic. You know? But I think you gotta have that sense of self, some sort of principles lah that you hold to. It doesn't mean that everybody have to be like you, but you know, but this is me. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So.
Sebab aku fan of documentation, thanks to you. So I'm interested, like macam what is the plan for, what do you foresee at the end game of Rice Cooker Archive tu?
Like I said before, kan, a lot of the more kind of like the more fringe cultural products or artifacts, it's not looked upon as valuable most of the time.
Okay.
But for me, it's very, very valuable. The idea is for me to have a space actually where people can come. Maybe they just like to browse. Okay, come. Or you got researchers, people who are writing in terms of historical kind of research, or even they want to do a film and they need something of more periodic kind of references or media, whatever, you know what I mean. So you'll be there, you know. And also in terms of history, you know, I mean, if you talk to kids nowadays, they don't know what happened us back then. You know, a lot of them don't really know. And you know, we're not the type that we're gonna go on a pedestal. You know what I mean? So a historical space with all the stuff. You know, I even collect T-shirts, local band T-shirt, regional band T-shirt actually. So I got the first T-shirt that was done because you know locally in the underground, it's only '92 that they started doing local band T-shirt. Local band T-shirt. Prior to that, they were doing Metallica, Sodom, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Antum, Left Hand Path, whatever. Locally, only '92 started.
92
Yeah.
First apa?
I think it was Silent Death, or is it Sekana? I can't remember. I have one.
Really, Yang hantar gambar nanti?
Oh, you know the boxes kami nak pindah kan?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing, because where I'm going, you know, where I'm going to be living, we have a nice piece of land in a way, which I think we can kind of transform a space to have people coming in to do research or whatever. My idea is to have something in the town where you know what happened to Penang Music House of Music, where they closed it. I mean, they closed yesterday, which is really sad. I went to visit them recently. Wow, man, their work is like priceless. You know, I mean, I'm more specialized in a more underground kind of thing. I mean, for me, it's priceless. But you are talking like the Piramli generation. Even that is not being looked upon seriously. You know, I mean, do we have an archive of the films that came out in the early days? What I'm saying is, cultural artifact doesn't matter lah, you know, from whatever that our nation produce. A lot of the time it's just lost. And when you talk about collectors, they collect to sell. And for me, that's you know, salah. In some ways, salah. You know, like that's why I would go and visit them and take pictures and digitize if I can. Sometimes they won't allow me to borrow, but because at the very least you have the content in some ways. I mean, you don't really need to have the that
physical,
LP. Yeah, no, you don't really. I mean, because nowadays it's so expensive. How many you like 3,000, 4,000 satu. You know what I mean? So for me, as long as you have the perisian and then the data, that's good enough. Because from there you can map. And you can map what happened. You know what I mean, that's amazing when you start mapping. Oh, this is like when the ringgit goes down, and then what happened to the society, or what music coming out. And I mean that sort of stuff. And also I'm at the age where I think I can sit down and work on this instead of being terkejut, try to do work. I mean, try to earn money, you know. You know what I mean? So now I think I can concentrate on just that, you know.
The more people who do it, lagi better, I feel. Which it goes back to, again, macam kau cakap, okay, let's take music lah, or youth culture, right? Kat Malaysia ni was never taken seriously by anyone.
Yeah.
Which is sad lah. That's why you have that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Sebab there's no history for a person to, avoid this.
Yeah.
You know, so...
You know, again, I'm saying the culture have many parts.
Yeah.
And there are parts that a lot of the more pious people, more so-called moral majority tak suka.
Yeah.
But it's there. You cannot ignore it. It's there. You have to document it.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's the character of the society. I mean, come on, man. Orang Melayu, party people. What?
Yeah.
I mean, because of this thing, you know, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Race, and somehow we are stuck. Because culturally, we are not progressive enough.
Yeah.
And this is the frustration. If you really love this sort of stuff, you see a lot of frustration. You know, like, fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's so many talented people who just, you know, not big. At least, I mean, support them. You know, or let's say, you know, you have some sort of a funding to give it to them lah. Because, you know, I mean, imagine kalau lah P. Ramlee dulu, the government just give him make film. I mean, what, you know, what's amazing stuff you're gonna come up with, right? But he had to struggle. Even though people see that he has so much talent, and he still ignored. I mean, what the fuck? You don't. This is the soul. I mean, for me, art, whatever, is the soul of the nation. Like Rice Cooker Archive, what I'm doing, it's not just Malaysia though. It's Southeast Asia. So it develops because I was hanging out in Manila, I was hanging out in Indonesia, hanging out with it. So I can see the need for it. The problem with me though, being a punk rocker, I don't like funding from corporates and things like that. So that kind of like really, you know, in a way, I'm stuck, you know. So, but I would rather have full control what I want to do. Do you know that there's a popular culture museum in Netherlands who wanted to buy my collection to bring it back over there. They came 2-3 times. You know, but of course, why you want to give it away? But you can learn from them how they document, collate, and you know, do the database and everything. You know, it's so amazing. But we don't have it here. Give people who are watching one project. I find it crazy that we don't have it. Where is the discography, at least a list of P. Ramlee's recording or Salaman's recording? Give me like a list from what year, which record, what song. None. Even that kita tak ada. I mean, this is like the major Agong punya artist kan. I'm just giving you an example how
to put things into perspective.
And you know, recently, I mean, a few years ago, you know that a lot of the radio stations, which is government run, they were throwing away all the records. They're throwing away the treasures. You know. I mean, aku ada jumpa, I still have with me, a box where Johari Saleh, because they don't have a studio at that time. They did a studio, if I remember correctly, just near the museum, the Islamic
Museum.
They have a studio there back then in the 50s or 60s because they don't have local material to send to the radio stations. The radio station needs to play local materials. So then they start their own orchestra and then they have their own studio. They record it, press it on vinyl. They put like 10 recordings on one box and send it off to everywhere, to Terengganu station, everywhere. And those are treasures. And now it's been sold away. You know, I found it. Somebody so. I mean, you know, I mean, this.
Faham.
I got one which is like the first few times the recording of Negaraku. Can you imagine? It's on acetate, you know. I mean, it's not on vinyl lah. Very, very. I'm just giving you several examples of how taken for granted the historical side of our arts in a sense. Not just music, film.
Yeah.
You know, even those TV drama, do they still have it? You know what I mean? Kan?
Kalau nak cari contoh drama apa, Al-Iradah. Ingat Guru Yahya? Ada one.
Okay.
I don't think they have. Guru Yahya. So, but to me, betul lah, I agree with you macam, okay, what's more interesting, right, Joe? Benda-benda yang kau buat ni, the passion ni, I think can be attributed to the punk rock punya ideals.
Yeah, it goes back to that lah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is,
For me, punk gave me that self-confidence to discover, explore, and push boundaries accordingly. You know, I mean, to find myself. You know, I mean, some people find themselves through religion, some people find themselves through whatever. I found myself through punk, who kind of, you know, and I do believe it gave a lot of people, a lot of kids, I'll call them kids, I'm talking about the populace of the scene, where it allows them to be creative in their own way without being beholden to record label or outside pressures or whatever. But the problem now, I see the scene, a lot of the time the bands are trying to be other bands that they like, which is for me, it's always been a bane lah, you know, because you have talent, you try to be yourself, you know, why you want to be discharged when you can be yourself? I mean, you can take some of the discharge stuff. Or, just an example, right? I'm just and because every year after year, you always look at the West, how new things are happening. Oh, lama, you know, trap, best. You know what I mean? Kan? But where is the innovation dekat sini? Because you are always stuck at looking at the people and got stuck in trying to emulate them. And this is a cycle that always happens since, I would say, the golden time of our rock and roll is the 60s lah, because the bands were sounding totally different from the other. And even the underground scene in the early 90s. You dengar, oh, tu subculture tu. You dengar, oh, ni Fit Green. Kan? Nowadays, you try.
It's a bit hard.
Yes. Unless you're no good lah.
Faham.
So that's another thing that, I mean, I love the scene. And I love the underground scene. I love it so much. But there are things that I believe that could have been better. They could have pushed themselves further. You know, and the funny ones, the one that really pushed themselves to become experimental, like my friend, you know, Yang Zin, you know, this guy. But it's too far. And people tak faham apa kot. I mean,
yes. Faham. Okay, out of my own curiosity, how would you define punk to you? Not apa what is punk by definition, but untuk engkau.
But the problem is people look at it as a form of music. One. And then people also start to see it as a form of fashion. Some people look at it as some form of expression. You know, I'm more into the form of expression, and it's also an idea that cannot be killed and shouldn't be killed, and should not be boxed. Because when you box an idea, then the idea died. The idea is not moving, which is why you see one of my main complaints nowadays that punk has become, what's the word? There is this thing, almost like cement. It's solidified, calcified. The word is calcified, calcium. It becomes this brick when it's supposed to be malleable and fluid. For me, it's an idea that's floating, that can go anywhere. And the main basic thing is the fact that you are transcending the normality around what you're presented with, and you are pushing boundaries. And for me, that's punk. You know that. But at the end of the day, it's also about. I mean, I'll take my own selfish reason for it. That it has to be for good. because it can be used for something really stupid and fucking, you know, like, you know, people say, oh, Trump is punk because he's like challenging all the like elites, you know what I mean? Fuck, you know? Right, so where does it end, you know what I mean? So for me, it has to be for something good, something that would, for the betterment of society as a whole. And then can be expressed creatively. I mean, for me, it should not be just music. It can be film, it can be all form. I mean, sajak, ke apa lah. I mean, some graffiti on the wall, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, that says something. You know, nowadays, you remember the time when Red, you know, and Fahmi Reza was doing this great graffiti that says something. You look at it, alamak, so it has give you some thinking. You stop, you stop in your track, like, okay, so this is about pengundi, you know, whatever lah, you know what I mean? Nowadays, you see all this kid tagging, and doesn't say anything. It's just okay, lawa lah, okay, nice color. There is no layers to the art. I mean, come on, you're young. I mean, don't waste the youth. You know, there's so much thing you can do, kan? So it's sad. I mean, if you want to be sad lah, I mean, it can be really sad.
Okay, lepas ni kita akan biar Joe mengorek and kita tengok apa yang Joe akan korek.
First of all, when you are in a record store, this is the first place that you go.
Use
The 10 ringgit.
10 ringgit.
Because masa aku kat Japan, you know, this union will have like almost in a city. I mean, in Tokyo alone, they have like 2 or 3.
Yes.
Every city will have. So every week, there's a day that they will put out the bargain bin.
Bargain bin.
Either outside of near the door or inside. And when I was there for like 4 months, that's the place where you get all the great stuff. There's one time yang aku tak ambil. In Japan, in 1964 up to about 67, they have a fanzine, like a small booklet, A5, on the Beatles.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's printed. And the whole copy was on that discount thing outside in Yokohama. I was there with my friend. And I look at it, tak apalah. Okay. Look balik. No, because you know, first of all, it's a Japanese, I mean, it's in English, but came out in Japan. And it's, you know, it's for me, in terms of the value of archival, it's crazy. So yeah, whenever you go to anywhere, this main place, because you know, you don't have that much money anyway, kan?
Betul.
So a lot of these, I would say, not really my thing. You know, back when I was doing reviews for The Sun, I have so many CDs like crazy. And then a friend of mine, you know, Novocaine, the band.
Novocaine,
yeah, 2 of them. They started a record store near Bukit Bintang. On top of that guitar center thing, not Swilly, there's a place where you can get all your guitar stuff. But after about a month or 2 months, I gave them all the CDs to help them out. The whole building was sold to some Arab guy, and then
tutup kedai.
Yeah, tutup kedai, and I don't know what happened to all the CDs. So. This is overseas band, from Sweden, amazing hardcore punk. I saw them in New York. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, you know, in New York, in terms of the violence of the society, comparatively to Sweden, you know, and they have a song about some cop. What song is it? Like, and that song is about how bad is the police and everything. So they were singing this, you know, everybody jumping up and down, whatever. And then one guy said, after the song's finished, one guy said in the crowd, "Is Swedish cop that bad?" You know, compared to this New York.
New York.
You know, so everybody just laughed and the band kind of like. Now, when I was in Sweden, police they rambut panjang.
Oh yeah?
I mean, so comparatively, but this is a great band, and this is like one of the more influential bands untuk local scene, to Indonesian scene. Really good. This is my Leatherface is one of my all-time favorite band from England. They are like last time I could try to describe them.
Uh-huh.
You imagine a melodic punk band with a Lemmy Motorhead as a vocalist, and the songs are like lyrically like Morrissey like kind of thing.
That's like
This is the band. But this is not the best album. The best album is Mink and Mush.
Mink and Mush.
That was 92, 93. Amazing band. The guitarist died 5-6 years ago. So now they're not active anymore.
Not active anymore.
But they're amazing.
Worth checking out, eh?
Really worth. I mean, a lot of stuff here is like really something else. I think this is not the usual thing that you guys in your show talk about. Heresy, UK band, amazing. Those days we call it speedcore, like really speedy hardcore lah. So the term was speedcore. One of the best albums that came out from over that side. This is a classic from Japan, daripada Jepun. That side is like, my God, you know, because this I think they got 2-3 albums, and the guitarist, what's his name again? Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea. Chelsea died a time ago. Chelsea went on to form another band called Paintbox. Paintbox. Imagine a hardcore punk band calling themselves Paintbox, which is a song from the early days of Pink Floyd, from Syd Barrett kind of days. And what they did was like combine some of the more progressive rock with hardcore punk and heavy rock and all this together, and all the songs like, oh my gosh, Paintbox. And but Wasted Dream, in terms of, I mean, that side for the album Wasted Dream, for this album is a major classic lah. You know, I mean, you just have to have this. You know, Japan got their own history of alternative music that goes back to the 60s even, like from psych folk and you know, electronica or whatever. Because I was there for 4 months. Right? The best thing is you go to a venue. If I'm not mistaken, for punk rock or hardcore alone, there are about 8. There is none of this animosity or competition between the venues. So they support each other, you know, which is for me like amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then for me, very hard lah, because in the weekend you want to go to shit shows. So I would sit down on my bed, aku letak all the flyer, aku just fuck, show man, nak begini. Yes, because it's so much.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, good problem to have. You know, yeah, but what I'm saying is like Japan is one of the most progressive in terms of music. You know, especially
ecosystem kan.
Yes, especially in terms of the more challenging, the more outer boundaries kind of stuff that they want to do. You know, like remember Boredoms?
Yeah, Boredoms.
Remember all those like crazy good stuff. So, but kita tak tahu. That's the thing. That's masalah kita don't really find out. But macam orang macam aku, we look for it lah. You know. What else? Let's go around. And you know that aku jumpa compilation Saloma in Kyoto.
In Kyoto?
That was not released here.
Oh.
Yeah, and it remastered and everything, you know.
Really?
Yes.
Beli tak?
Beli lah.
Okay.
Beli man. Okay, okay, there's another thing. Use stuff because then I can afford it. See, you know that Dog Eat Dog came here?
Huh? They came here perform?
Yeah.
Tahun bila?
96 or something. Is it Dog Eat Dog? Yelah.
Oh, yeah?
Right, yeah. They played, tak silap aku, they played Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, Hard Rock Cafe shows.
Yes.
Okay.
I have, dia orang dah bagi aku stiker, ada gitar lama aku ada. Another part of the music obsession I have is with reggae. A lot of dub reggae. Like early Max Romeo would be amazing. And of course, Augustus Pablo, like, you know, this guy, dia macam panggil apa? Accordion.
Harmonika?
Bukan, yang tube.
Oh, yang tube ada tali, ada macam tu. Melodian.
Melodian.
Yes. Melodian.
And he does.
Speaking of which, dalam apa Righteous Spark tu ada satu dub track number 4.
Yes, you should play that one. Okay, that one was done by Salim. I don't know kalau you guys remember Tugu Drum Circle.
Tugu Drum Circle, yes.
Tugu Drum Circle is almost every Sunday from, I mean, they existed for about 10 years or more. Paul Lau, which is our close friend who died 4 years ago. And then Salim.
Paul Lau yang Chinese bald guy tu?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
pasu dia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very sad. I mean, he's the guy who took care of my house whenever I go. But anyway, so Salim Dastan, he's half Irish. So he was living here, and then he and Paul set up this group where they invited anyone to come and drum with them at the Tugu lah. Yeah. So every Sunday they do that. So kids, whatever lah, tourists, whatever, you know. And then from there it started this small grouping of drummers lah, who then went on to do shows for, you know, festivals and things like this. So they're almost like the catalyst for what's happening. And Salim, about I think 2013, almost 10 years ago, he came around. So we hang out, and then he went to our studio. At that time, we have Kerbau, our own studio, run by Kabetadang ourselves. And he said that, I want to do a dub of your song. So then he did it with Paul. So Paul played drums, played some of the djembe and all this, and he recorded, and he, you know, do the dub thing lah. And then that what came out, and it's his own production. Is because kita tengok banyak orang main reggae, tapi a lot of time they tak dapat that sound. A lot of the reggae, local reggae that we see, is more on the rock side of things, not deep reggae, because they have certain production values yang orang sini tak pakai. So, but Salim doing that for Kabetadang, that was amazing for me. I was so happy with that. So, local bands. Detention. I think this band is from Indonesia. Really good band. Because this is amazing. In this current, the past few years, they're Singaporean band. Doldre, amazing. I mean, ada death metal, ada hardcore punk, all mixed up together, but done. Because most of the time aku suka apa-apa saja. Yang pentingnya lagu. Kalau lagu dia sedap. Memang banyak orang buat macam ni, tapi tak didn't get. It's like you look at Metallica in the early days. You know, I mean, of course a lot of band main trash, tapi tengok Forbidden ke apa kan. Comparatively, Metallica got the songs. Their songs amazing. So for me, that's the main thing lah. Tak kira lah you main apa pun, even trap ke apa. So, yeah, this is really good. Aku mostly nowadays, what I do is, aku subscribe to Bandcamp. So let's say I found a label that local, aku immediately subscribe. So they will send me newsletter, any new release, like from Indonesia, from Philippines, and I would listen. If I like it, I put it in the folder. And I put in the folder the year, the month. And then I would have one folder, February of 2024, let's say. So that's how, you know, I kept, you know, being in the loop of what is great, what's happening.
What's currently
yeah. Currently, I mean, in terms of American bands, you try, I tell you, listen to Transit Method.
Transit Method?
Yeah, nama dia memang kelakar sikit, Transit Method. But they're like progressive. Imagine jumpa Jane Sedition.
Ya ke?
Yes.
Transit Method?
Transit Method. From Texas. Really good band. That's the latest album they put out. I think the second album or first album. It's really good. That's currently aku punya Fendi dengan favorite lah.
Okay.
I mean, not punk or whatever, but they do have a bit of
but they have good songs
progressive rock that is melodic, but at the same time complicated, all the odd timing, whatever, in hints of voivod. You know. But for me, if you're looking for bands that pushing boundaries, most of the time come from the metal side. Kalau you dengar, there's a recent band aku really like, Zorn. Z-O-R-N. I think they're from Philadelphia. They're like black metal, mid-hardcore punk. You know, I mean, all this mixture, but still have that gritty, crazy, you know, Zone. For me, last year, that was one of the best hardcore punk or metal punk kind of
Album, Zone,
Zone, Z-O-R-N. You know John Zone, but just the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of those. Poison Girls, okay, this, I tell you about, this is my thing lah. Poison Girls, if you know the crust, the peace punk, anarcho-punk scene in England back in the early 80s or even late 70s, Poison Girls is one of the bands. But the odd thing is, Vice Versa, the singer, she was already like really old. The band members were like her son and daughters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like Pete Fender, my friend on Facebook. He plays guitar, and they like how to say, because in terms of the early 80s British punk, a lot of the time the more progressive element comes from the crass side of things. I mean, the crass conflict and Flood of Pink Indian and all those guys. And Poison Girls is one of them. I got their box set, so like but CD lah. I kept, and I like the fact that Pete, my friend, I mean, I don't really know each other, but on Facebook he talked about his mom. His mom died 2 years ago. Vice Versa died 2 years ago. This is the Deals. I know you guys know the Deals.
Yeah, the Deals.
The Deals, 3 guys who were really influenced by the Clash from England, but they're from, I believe they were from Texas, and then they went to California to hang out with the punks there, and they are almost like socialist. I mean, lyrically, you know, socialist punk rockers who talk about the strata of class and all this thing. And I mean, they're amazing. But the other amazing bit is when the brothers Chip Kidman and Tony Kidman, they form Rank and File. Rank and File is among the first cowboy or country punk band who fuse country rock with punk rock. Yes, among the first few bands because this is the beauty of punk rock, because there's so many tangents that you can go. And you can do different things. You know, I mean, you can add dub to it. You can, you know, for me, which is why I'm so happy that I was there in the sense, walaupun aku kat sini, when Joy Division come out, when Susie the Banshees put out their first second album, and all that, where punk have taken a different path already. And then when Ultravox came out, they started to fuse glam with a bit of electronic, and then from there, OMD started, because they started from being punks, you know what I mean? And then, of course, my main hero at that time was 1979, because the cassette, pirated cassette came out. Tubeway Army, the second album. I mean, the first album, I got the first album, which is great. Like, you imagine raw David Bowie, alien format kind of thing. And then the second album, which is Down in the Park and all that. Like, oh my God, that is where the idea of electronica comes from. Because from crowd rock, from Kraftwerk and everything. So and then from there lah, keluar Depeche Mode, whatever, you know. So country punk. So the Deals was one of the earliest practitioner of that lah, along with X and all that.
So Gary Newman is one of your favorite?
My favorite. Because it's weird. I mean, another thing, you imagine a type of music that soulless. There is, you imagine you're a robot like when you first listen to Kraftwerk, Kraftwerk is more regimented, but at least Gary Newman and his band Tubeway Army, they do it in a kind of punk rock kind of way, you know what I mean? And the stuff he's talking about is very much sci-fi, taken from Gibson, all those people, or sci-fi writers, you know, turn it into this dystopian culture, you know. and you can sense it, you know.
Yeah.
And if you look at the picture, the cover, Kenny Newman, first album misalkan Replicas. So the album is called Replicas. So Replicas, there's this picture standing in a room, looking out through the window, and there's a park there. And then you can see his face on the other side is a bit different.
Yeah.
And then you listen to the song, it's like, it's not haunting, but you mean you like soulless music, but touch you in that way, in the strangeness of things, you know what I mean? And I got into that, you know, Telex. From there you got Telex from Belgium, and you got DAF from Germany. So the whole tangent of electronica started from there, you know what I mean? And the German new wave of the 70s was amazing. You got Trio, you got so many. Because back then, aku boleh find this thing on pirate cassette, mostly from Singapore. Aku go on school trip to Singapore. I didn't do anything what other people do. Aku just pergi kedai cassette. Yeah. Okay, John Mayer. Okay, talking about this John Mayer. When I was growing up, my brother's friends, they are really into blues. I'll tell you one story. John Mayer with the Blues Breakers and everything, everybody got it. Eric Clapton was God or something like this. When he went to his slow hand period after Cream. And there was one house across the road from my parents' place. And my window, where my bedroom window opens up, I can see their veranda, their balcony. And these guys, they play blues. These young guys, older than me, of course. At night, at about 10, 11, they started to stay on the balcony, but they start playing blues. Two guitars, you know, and somebody singing, and I would go to sleep to that. Wow. For me, it's like, you know, it's amazing. I was probably about 12, 13 or something like that. The main music for the kutu-kutu jalanan di Dungun was either Deep Purple or the blues. And John Mayer is one of the heroes. And Johnny Winter, you know, B.B. King, you know, those guys. And I grew up with this sort of stuff, but for me, at that time I found it repetitive, and it's just like the same chord. Why? But when you get older, it's like, oh man, you know. My favorite is Lonnie Hopkins.
Okay.
If you ever try to find out Lonnie Hopkins is what they call the Mississippi blues, because he plays raw, and most of the time when he's alone, because he's raw, the way he plays, there is no embellishment. It's more like, you know, whatever he thinks, you know. Yes. I love it because those days I had the cassette. You can buy the cassette and everything. My youth was filled. Even the past, my youth was all form of music. A lot of people say, Joe, because some people think that I only listen to punk rock. For me, that's very, very wrong. Because I listen to anything. That's one time some guys come to me, Joe, you need to put other patches. Punk kan ada patches. aku ada ni. Aku ada patch. Aku ada jago ni. Because music. There's so much great stuff, you know.
Again, you link back to punk. Punk is about discovery. You got how to, if you ask me lah, to how I take it. You know, it lead you to a path where you need to discover.
Yeah.
Kalau tak, menjadi static.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like I said, calcify, it becomes tradition.
Yeah.
When tradition is something that tradition is great.
Yeah.
It's there, but tradition is something that do not progress.
Yeah.
It has to be tradition. So it has to be that.
Yeah.
So let's say, you have just to play punk rock in the 70s style. I remember when Kabata Dang came out, our first album. My very, very good friend, which I've known since 1979, Abbas Karas. He came down from Taipei, and he marah aku.
Oh yeah.
Because he said, Joe, why you do it this way? Why you do this this sound? You should have done it in Clash or the Dam or that 70s, because he loved that period.
Yeah, that period.
And then for me, why you want to be, you know, why you at that time we were listening to Flash Tunnel, God Flash. At the same time we were listening to all the punk bands, Italian bands like Peggio Punk or, you know, Ratchet or, you know, all this we listen to everything, and then from there, that's what we come up with.
Yeah.
You know? And at the same time, the song, our songs are pop songs. You know that most of the song, I mean, maybe all the song is on Song for Friends. You can play acoustically. You can sit down acoustically and play the song. It's not like Discharge, where in a way you can play acoustically, but you know what I'm saying is there's a sense of how to say it, there's song to it. There is this ebb and flows and things. I mean, it's not like amazing Gila Babi, but for us, it's like if you can play that song anywhere, then
It's a song.
it's a song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before I go off, this is the Turnstile, you know Turnstile?
Yeah. Budak-budak.
Which is like dah memporak-perandakan hardcore scene. Sebab they actually not traditional hardcore.
Yeah.
What they did is they mixed everything and to the point of being really commercial in some way. But at first aku dengar all these people talk about them. Apa ni? So then aku download aku dengar, best weh. Yeah, because you know
They have songs.
they have songs again.
Yeah.
So Turnstile is one of the, but I heard the guitarist left or something like this. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you can go like another 3 hours. I can, you know, but
But anyway, thank you so much, Joe.
thanks, man.
It's an honor, serious.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, because you are to me personally an inspiration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah, thank
for
you.
doing this.
Thank you.
Alright, and then also,
I want to say a few things because I think, first of all, my band Capital Down is recording and things like that. And then, like I said, kami sekarang ni revisited the first album and then putting out that 4 EPs. So the first EP coming up very soon. It's all recorded, it's all mastered. I already have the artwork. Trying to look like the first album kind of artwork, but it's gonna be a bit more funny, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's coming up. And also, kalau you guys maybe you want kind of like bersara from underground so-called, and then you got all the barang-barang from the scene, from fanzines to tapes or CDs, especially barang-barang daripada Nusantara lah, I mean, Southeast Asia. Kalau tak keberatan, just message me, I go and pick it up from you. Kalau you nak bagi aku jaga for the archive, aku will jaga. And then usually, what we do is kalau you, let's say, Adly give me a box, that box is going to be called Adly's archive. So that's why I call it archives, because it's an archive of everyone.
Yep.
So every single thing when we collate the data and all that is gonna have your name on it. You know. Because banyak orang sekarang just buang. When I got a bit older, my friends and family bakar lah and all this thing, which is sayang.
Yep.
So instead of you don't want apa tu berdosa so-called, bagi dosa tu kat aku tak apa. Simpan. Ini untuk zaman akan datang.
Yeah. Also, if I can add, kalau let's say tak nak bagi, nak land for scanning,
Yes, scanning
boleh.
pun boleh.
Yeah.
Aku pun cari. Because nowadays aku dah ada identify some people who have great collection. There are a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are doing archive now, which is great. You know? Yeah. Sebab my thing is mostly tentang underground scene lah.
Yep.
Punk, metal, indie, whatever lah yang berkenaan. From about mid 80s onward lah kan.
Mid-80s onward.
Because you know, Taki put out a great book on the rock. You know, 65 tahun rock.
Tak sure.
Alamak.
Serius ah?
Serious man?
Baru keluar ke dah lama?
Dah 3-4 bulan. Maybe more. Yeah.
The latest one yang I noticed was the siapa? Gonzo dan Berisiko tu lah.
Alah, Gonzo talked about
Dia punya artikel lah in utusan.
Yes, but
Yeah.
also the period that's discovered there. It's very good in the sense that it's the period that I was not really knowledgeable about, which is the early 2000 onwards. Taki book is about rock music, mainly a lot of the mak rock, the rock kangkang, rock kapak, whatever in it.
Okay.
That the whole history of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Oh, I didn't.
Serius terlepas pandang.
Alamak. I
Oh,
think he
ada
did,
lagi kot.
because he interviewed so many people, hundreds of
Yeah.
practitioners in the sense that. So It's a thick book, but it's very good. So these are the things that I think that part is covered by Taki. He's doing it so well. And then we got Paul Augustine, who's doing the more Penang 60s kind of stuff. Which is to be awesome. Then of course you got our friend Nazar, who's doing some collection of his whatever music. There's a lot. My plan is to go there and bawa scanner. No, we can have so much, but that is more on the 60s, 70s kind of stuff. So, kalau ada all this archive that more special, because you cannot do anything. You got, you cannot do everything.
Yes.
You have to have a niche, and then you do that. My niche is the underground lah. Apa tengok kok mengata.
Okay, so if you guys have anything yang macam you nak contribute to the archive, please do. I will share some of the stuff. Aku cross check dengan kau because I have newspaper cuttings, fanzine, old flyers, cassette, demos. Nanti kita
demo is really important because how many demos you put out anyway kan. So
because there are some classics pun demo macam Nota, ingat band Seremban.
Wow, really?
That's a good band. Nota. So if korang ada, just sama ada nak donate ataupun
atau bagi aku pinjam so that I can, kalau boleh digitize atau aku scan just to have it on our database. So then because bagi aku very penting lah, because dah lah benda tu tak banyak dikeluarkan and then people always lupa. So
it's crucial. It's important lah.
Aku for many years aku bawa recorder. Aku started dengan Walkman and then after that mini disc. Aku go everywhere, aku record shows. So aku ada 3 kotak all the mini disc. And inside there, oh my god. Dan baru ni aku jumpa orang jual the player, the MD player for cheap, RM60. Aku okay. So then I can digitize those things. It is in a way digital, but I have to bring it out. So what I'm saying is there are collections of interviews. That's very important also. Recently, semalam 2 hari lepas, aku tu jumpa interview dengan Aru. Aru Coffin Republic. Dibuat oleh Radio Bangsa Utama.
Wow.
And then I realized Radio Bangsa Utama was doing streaming shows. They interviewed two sort of trade, I think it was Majina. They interviewed a lot, even political activists on the outside. Even Ilan also was interviewed. So I asked them yesterday, mana pergi all those record? Because I got yang Aru punya. I'm glad because aku dub masa kat rumah dengar dub. But where are those? So apa aku cakap ni? Kalau you guys ada interviews also is very important.
Just share anything yang related to the
youth culture, especially yang musical youth culture. Very important.
Come on guys, let's do this. Alright, till next episode. Ciao.